The opinions expressed by the hosts, callers, and guests are not those of DGVRadio.com, Envisage Productions LLC, its advertisers, sponsors, or employees.
Deputy Sheriff William Garner, 53 years old, Franklin County Sheriff's Office, Georgia, and to watch July 19th. Deputy Sheriff Bill Garner was struck and killed by a vehicle while at the scene of a single vehicle crash. He was assisting the occupants of the involved vehicle when another vehicle lost control, entered the median, and struck him. The man driving the vehicle that struck him was charged with homicide by vehicle. Deputy Garner had served with the Franklin County Sheriff's Office for 1 year. He had previously served with the Oconee County Sheriff's Office and the Pendergrass Police Department for over 12 years. Deputy Sheriff William Nichols, 33 years old, DeSoto County Sheriff's Office, Mississippi. End of watch July 22nd. Deputy Sheriff William Nichols drowned while attempting to save his son from a rip current near Sandestin, Florida. He was able to get his son to safety, but was swept back away from shore. His body was recovered a short time later. Deputy Nichols had served with the DeSoto County Sheriff's Office for 10 years and served as the agency's search and rescue director. He is survived by his wife and 2 children. Deputy Sheriff Dylan Pickle, 24 years old, Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Mississippi. End of watch July 26th. Deputy Sheriff Dylan Pickle was struck and killed by a vehicle while conducting a safety checkpoint. He and several other deputies were conducting the checkpoint when a vehicle struck him and a second deputy. Both deputies were transported to a hospital in Tupelo, where Deputy Pickle succumbed to his injuries shortly after midnight. Deputy Pickle was a Mississippi National Guard veteran. The following officers died in the line of duty due to contracting COVID-19. Director Kyle Coleman, 69 years old, Bexar County Fire Marshal's Office, Texas. End of watch July 14th. Corrections Officer Jackson Pongay, 56 years old, Texas Department of Criminal Justice. End of watch July 19th. Deputy Sheriff Oscar Roca, 57 years old, Alameda County Sheriff's Office, California. End of watch July 23rd. There have been 63 line-of-duty deaths on this day in history. And this week, you can see from my hat, I honor Police Officer Jonathan de Guzman. July 28, 2016 marks the anniversary of the line-of-duty death of San Diego Police Officer Jonathan de Guzman, affectionately known as JD. He was shot and killed in the line of duty while he and his partner, Officer Wade Irwin, pulled over to conduct a subject stop of known gang members. Upon exiting the vehicle, the officers were immediately fired upon. Officer Irwin was struck once in the neck, and JD was struck 5 times before he could even get out of the car. Officer Irwin was able to return fire, and the suspects fled, only to be found minutes later by responding officers. The suspect was hit and lay bleeding off the side of the road. You were not forgotten, JD de Guzman. Right now, we're going to take a brief moment of silence to remember and honor our fallen police officers, firefighters and first responders, and veterans that have died in the line of duty. Are we good? All right, welcome back to another edition of The Blue Room, where we have the right to remain silent, but...
It ain't happening.
All right, that ain't happening. Normally, we would go around the room, check in with everyone, but we just don't have that kind of time right now, because joining us on the phone... Do we have our phone guest?
He's coming.
He's coming. He's en route.
So you check in with Chris.
All right, so well, Christian, tell me about your life the last couple of weeks since the last show while we're waiting for our phone guest.
I've been pretty good so far. Nothing out of the ordinary.
No,
not
not moving out of the country anytime soon.
No. I plan to live outside of the country for like a couple of months, but that's still in the.
Florida's still part of this country, right?
I know.
All right,
I know
I'm just
that.
checking.
Hey, bro, chill. I know my geography.
Chris, are you getting kicked out of the country at any point?
Who am I? ISIS?
He's being nicely. He's asked to leave gently. Soft hands, right? Soft touch, like the police commissioner and
like Uncle Good Touch.
Yeah, but I just want to taste the atmosphere like in Europe or
taste the atmosphere. I like that.
I want to go first to the Nordic countries first.
Nordic.
You know what I call atmosphere?
Or let's say a country like Italy, Croatia, Prague.
All right. You ever been, or you just read up on these places?
This is my conscience.
No, I haven't been there, but I want to go there.
All right, well, that's good that you have dreams.
Yeah.
You know,
No, not dream, but like
It's kind of a dream. It's like, I want to get out of here for a while. I want to see the world. I
Yeah.
want to see the world.
Yeah.
You should join the army or something.
I want to see the Northern Lights
You should join the army. They'll send you.
in Norway.
No? Can you imagine Chris in the army?
No.
That was like his.
No.
That's
No.
his dream.
No.
Isn't that his dream?
You know what? I regret not signing up for the army now that I think about it.
No.
Oh,
no,
we
no.
don't.
No, we
No,
do
don't. We
not.
definitely
That's
not.
probably one of the best decisions you never made.
Chris is
Chris, I
like,
think you'd be better off as a seaman.
Excuse me?
Chris is like, you want me on that wall.
Oh, no.
You need me on the other side of that wall.
He was talking about that earlier. He's like, I've never shot a rifle. I really want to shoot a rifle. Like, no.
That's probably not a good idea, all right?
Not at all.
How was your week, Josh?
No, please don't.
Don't
get me
even-
started.
don't even start?
Yeah,
No,
there's-
we all know
there's-
what happened. We all know what happened.
There's
this
not. There's not enough time. We'll get to my week later.
Well, is your wife giving you a hard time again?
No. Are you kidding me? No, but that's
That woman loves me.
Yeah, listen.
What are you talking about?
Somebody has to.
week. For some reason, that fedora fits you. Josh.
What?
The fedora.
You think that he's wearing a fedora?
Or whatever that thing is called.
Jesus
Looks
Christ.
good.
All I'm gonna say with what I saw over the week, any doubt that I had about the government being out there killing people, it's happening. It's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Epstein most definitely did not kill himself, and this government moves in.
They move
Mysterious
mountains
ways.
when they need something done, they get it done.
They move in mysterious ways in
I have a
government,
good-
right?
Well, it is what it is.
We're
What do
good.
you got, Jacob? We good?
Yes, sir.
All right, so guys, we're back. We have a very special guest calling in with us tonight. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome the Motor City Madman.
Attaboy.
You may know him as Uncle Ted or simply the Nuge. Rock legend Ted Nugent's with us. Ted, you there?
Greetings, Tommy. Happy summertime crazy cluster whack 2020, y'all.
Absolutely, bro. That's every day of my life, man.
And story of my life.
What-
I didn't invent chaos, but I perfected it.
Can if you write that book, which I know you're quite the author. I've seen a bunch of your titles. I get a kick out of the kill it and grill it. Dude, I was cracking up. I'm a big hunter.
Well,
I hunt and I fish. So
I'm honored to be here with you guys. Tommy, who else we got here?
so we have to my right is Christian, our intern, who is learning the ropes of radio madness.
How are you doing? How are you doing, Ted? Nice to meet you.
Greetings, Tommy. Nice to talk to you, man.
And we got Josh and Johnny Blue, both. I'm retired NYPD. These guys are both active police officers in Jersey. We don't give too much information out about them because, as you know, our local government not too crazy about us right now. So we
we spoke on Saturday, Ted.
So we-
I was one of the ones that should have been there greeting you,
Yeah,
but
you think I might know that?
yeah, one of the ones that should have been here greeting you if our government didn't
Allow
that.
us.
Yeah, but I'll leave that to you.
Well, we got to thank you. I mean, Ted, for taking some time out of your busy schedule with us. I mean, I've seen you. Obviously, you're all over the place between the political activism and the vocal support of law enforcement and military, the charities that you're involved in, and your own shows and podcasts that have been on for, I feel like, ever. And the writing books and still playing. Like I honestly don't know how you find time to scratch your ass, let alone take a half hour out of your night to talk to us. It's really, really appreciated.
Well, guys, I got a great team. I've surrounded myself with really positive work ethic monsters. You mean my family and my band, my crew. You've already dealt with the miracle working woman of the mountain, Linda Peterson. She's
Yep.
my personal assistant.
She is phenomenal.
Man, now she's like Chesty Puller of the personal assistant world. I'm like a Marine drill sergeant. But I'm a lucky guy. I've been clean and sober for 72 years, so all my stuff still works pretty good. So I actually am not like Joe Biden. I can actually
Oh,
Right out of the gate. Right out of the gate. I love it.
yep.
No, yeah, he doesn't even know where he is, but it's so bad. It's so bad.
And he's still running for president. I can't believe that.
It's unbelievable.
So you're Ted, born in Michigan. I see your dad served in the Army. Were you like an Army brat? Were you moving around a lot as a kid?
I was born, guys, if you wonder why I got this attitude, because it is a beautiful attitude. In fact, if I dare say, I do believe with all my heart and soul, and based on all the research and evidence, the American dream that I have plowed forward and lived and demanded and cultivated and celebrated, I, Ted Nugent, the Motor City Madman, the author of Wang Dang Sweet Poon Dang and the ultimate battle song Stranglehold, I, Ted Nugent, am exactly what the Founding Fathers wanted all Americans to be. They wanted us to be suspicious. They wanted to demand. They wanted every American accountability from our elected employees. And the horror story and the indecency and the dishonesty and the corruption and the criminal abuse of power that we witnessed in New York when we tried to just say thank you to the heroes of law enforcement who provide safe streets and neighborhoods for America. You saw that curse that apathy has developed in New York and New Jersey and California and Illinois, pretty much every Democrat state. You see just chaos and what Cuomo and de Blasio represent and the lies that they spewed.
Well, you hit it on the head as far as the Constitution goes, because it starts there. That's the biggest group of laws. That's what runs the country, and then the trickle down effect. And you say to yourself, if you guys can't uphold these 27 amendments to the Constitution, if you can't uphold these, it's like the Ten Commandments, right? There's not a whole lot of them. If you can't uphold these for your people, then how are you going to uphold the trickle-down effect laws of state to state and then city to city? They twist everything to their own agenda. And here's the thing, though: none of them, and what we'll get into a little bit about what happened on this weekend, but there's zero accountability. They will never have to stand in front of somebody unless they're running for office again. And de Blasio certainly is not eligible for mayor. And I can't imagine he would even I don't think he can get his head out of his ass. It's so deep to actually run anywhere else. And Cuomo, I really do hope someday that he runs for something that someone can stand up on a stage with him and ask those questions. Why a law is good for one and not for the other. With the COVID-19 and the nursing homes, he's never going to have to account for that. Accountability, follow the law.
That's why I say what I say, because I'm just a guitar player, but I'm a husband and a father and a neighbor, and I know the oath that you guys take because I have to take it every 4 years in Michigan and Lake County. I've been a sworn sheriff deputy in Michigan since 1984, so I know what those words mean. They have iron. They are a solemn oath, and we see it violated by corrupt politicians all across this country. So if I may, on behalf of the Nugent family and every American family in the asset column, those radical people that actually obey the laws, the ones that actually get up and go to work so they can be productive for their family and their neighborhood and our great country, I'm pretty good with the English language, but there are no words adequate to say thank you to you guys and the law enforcement heroes of this country and your families, because the sacrifices, the risks, the challenges, the fears, the heartbreak that you guys all go through, it's not just the guys on the front lines, it's your family. So believe me when I speak, this is not just a goofy guitar player's hunch. I'm not making any presumptions here. I know working hard, playing hard America. I know these shit kickers that put their heart and soul into being the best that they can be, and know that the American dream is virtually not available without safe streets and neighborhoods that are provided by you guys. So when I say these words, I know you get the gist and the spirit of what I'm saying, but you will never understand how, when I walk the not-so-mean streets of this country, remember, I rock and roll, and I hunt, and I hang out in all 50 states. And I hang out with the best of the best, the farmers and the ranchers and the cops and the teachers, the hardware store operator, and my heroes, the welders and the plumbers and the carpenters, just every imaginable walk of life of Americana. And they are so sincere in expressing through me, because they know I'm going to hang with you guys. They know I'm going to be on these type of communication networks and campfires, both electronic and literal.
Yep.
But thank you. Believe me, we pray for you guys every damn day, especially when we see these corrupt bureaucrats encouraging thugs to throw water on you and throw bricks at you.
Yeah, what's much worse than water?
And then tell you can't fight back.
Yeah,
Who the hell comes up with this?
Well, you can't grab their neck, you can't grab their head, you can't grab their chest. Don't kneel on their chest, don't stand on their chest, don't sit on them, don't push them. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Minneapolis, they've had over 100 agencies pull out of the DNC convention because in Minneapolis they're not allowed to use pepper spray and tear gas to break up crowds. So the cops are standing there, and there's only two other ways to do it. One of them is you don't do it and you stand back and you let them burn the city down. But the other way is you got to do it with physical force. You ask any cop, I'd much rather drop some pepper spray here and get rid of 5 of you guys to the next corner than ever have to fight with even just one of you. Even though we know we're going to kick your ass, we don't want physical confrontation. We just want you to take your shit to the next block. Don't break up what you're breaking up here. And then they take those tools away and say, "Oh, by the way, we're going to take." It's like being a carpenter, and you got to go build this house, and then the GC turns around and goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to take the hammer away from you. You don't get any nails either. How are you supposed to build a house without a hammer and nails?" And they expect this mansion to get built and be restored without the tools that you were taught, the tools that are being used for 250 years.
Yep.
And they're just taking them away in the snap of a finger, and they haven't been able to defend the fact that they're doing it.
Wait a second. Where are you guys sitting right now? What city and what state are you guys in?
We're in Jersey.
We're in Jersey.
We're in right outside of Patterson.
Well, be very, very careful, because I hear you breaking the law, because I happen to know that truth, logic, and common sense is illegal in New York and New Jersey. So you guys be very careful what you're talking about. Believe me, I know truth and logic and common sense. I hang out with these people every day, and I'm not guessing. The evidence and the history and the statistics are irrefutable. But here it is. Here's the logical insanity of when they limit the tactics of the law enforcers, but they don't limit any of the tactics or the violations of the crimes of the bad guys.
Exactly.
What planet does that work on?
Well, apparently it works here. And not only that law are we breaking, I'm also apparently breaking the one that says I can't carry jacketed hollow points in my 45 Springfield ACP. But, I'm not leaving those at home when I drive through Patterson, New Jersey.
What's wrong with Patterson?
Nothing. It's a beautiful neighborhood. I can't wait to bring the family here on vacation.
Not really.
But you got to do what you got to do to protect yourself. I say, my wife, we live in the city, in New York City, and we're not in Manhattan. And I tell her my biggest fear is turning down the block and the car being surrounded by protesters, and the car starts shaking and rocking, and then you got to make a decision. It's fight or flight. If you choose flight, you're going to run people over, and then you're going to wind up getting in trouble. If you choose fight, the only fight I have is my 45. And if that's the way I got to fight to get off that block, then so be it. That's a fear of mine. I mean, I'm not afraid to. I've been in shootouts as a cop. I'm not afraid to shoot someone. In this current environment, with the end result of the repercussions for me to protect myself are there's nothing there. They don't protect me. And now if I protect myself, I'm in trouble.
If I may, let's get into the minutia. Let's examine what you just said. I know that law-abiding Americans in New Jersey aren't allowed to have hollow points, but is it true that law enforcement warriors are not allowed to carry hollow point ammo? Is that true?
Depending on what state you're in. Here they're not. They're not allowed to carry.
Don't go any further. Let's make sure everybody listening, and if it's mostly cops and warriors and people with a modicum of education about ballistics and law enforcement and the history of wound channels and the resistance to ballistics, you guys should be going nuts, because the law that eliminates the use of hollow points is literally facilitating the ballistic science that solid bullet will go beyond the target.
Absolutely.
If you're shooting at a bad guy, that solid bullet will go and more innocent bystanders will be hit.
1,000%.
Hang on. Why the hell can't you guys fix that insane law that jeopardizes innocent life? Nobody's talked about this enough.
Well,
New Jersey law against hollow points is berserk. The devil made that law.
Yep.
You're literally jeopardizing innocent lives because of over-penetration. Why the hell can't you fix that?
Because I think the train of thought here is that if you hit him with a jacketed hollow point, you're going to cause more damage to the person you're actually shooting at. But here's the thing: that's the whole point.
Thank you, Ted. Say it again.
That's the whole point. I'd rather kill you than hit you and 3 people behind you with a full metal jacket.
Yes.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Don't even parrot that stupidity. That's why we shoot someone, to neutralize them. That's why the ballistic. So New Jersey is an island of insanity.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Agreed.
While the rest of the world studies ballistics, studies shootings, studies the results of shootings, and realize that hollow point ammo is safer, it more quickly dispatches and neutralizes the threat. Who doesn't want to neutralize a life threat?
Somebody analyzed
that line seems ridiculously long.
Do you really understand how insane that law is?
Yes.
I can check this one out. When Cuomo shoved the New York SAFE Act down our throats, he presented it on a Thursday or Friday evening and said, we're going to vote on it on Monday. The SAFE Act is like War and Peace times 4. It's like 650 pages. So they voted on it, and one of the passages in it said that no one in New York State could carry a magazine that had more than 10 rounds of ammunition in it, which made every police officer in New York State was breaking a law, was committing a felony because we carry 15 rounds in our magazines. It took them a year. It took them a year to rewrite that law or to amend the law because they said, oh, we must have missed that. You didn't miss it. You wrote it a certain way, and no one bothered to read the goddamn
And
thing.
you hope nobody saw it.
They just stuck it in there. Cuomo shoved it down their throat. The New York State Assembly voted on it because they just do whatever Napoleon tells them to do. They signed off on it, and then the unions got involved, and they said, whoa. We carry 15 rounds. What are we supposed to do? All the retired guys said the same thing. We carry 15 rounds. What are we supposed to do? And it took them a year to change it. Ridiculous.
Well, believe me, you're not going to bring up any crazy-ass gun laws that I'm not aware of. I can tell you more. Number one, I've been law enforcement, what is this, almost 40 years now, and I have to qualify every year. Plus, I just enjoy shooting. I enjoy the beautiful tools of firearms and all their different methodologies and actions and designs. I'm fascinated by that stuff. And I'm a free American. I happen to have a self-evident, truth-based, God-given individual right guaranteed by the Constitution that says I can keep and bear arms. And it also says the Cuomos and de Blasios and the Murphy dirtbags out there can't infringe. Then infringed.
They're trying, and it's a limit. It just says I can bear arms. It doesn't say what kind. What do I have to use it for? All of a sudden, the AR-15, the big black bad rifle. We can't have those. Really? Who cares? I'm not walking down Main Street with an AR-15 like these guys are doing in Georgia and what's the other state where they're going to protests with their AR. I mean, it's open carry. I get it.
Michigan,
but they're just walking down the street with listen, it stays in my safe. When I want to shoot, I shoot. I'm not going into movie theaters and lighting people up. You penalize the people that are breaking the law. Here's the thing. And I've been saying this forever. It's so much easier to rewrite a law or write a new law than it is to enforce a current one. So rather than enforcing the current law, they just write a new one.
We have the statistics that the so-called court system, the so-called justice system of New York and New Jersey and Illinois, do you realize of the thousands and thousands of thugs caught with guns in Illinois? It's a shooting fest. It's worse than Beirut.
Oh, Chicago's crazy.
They catch these guys with the guns. They've got the victim and the perpetrator. And you ready for this? 90% of the guys caught red-handed with gun crimes, 90% are not prosecuted. So as they ignore the plethora of current gun laws in places like New York, New Jersey, Chicago, Maryland, Massachusetts, Connecticut, California, ad nauseum, as they catch guys breaking current laws, they don't enforce them, but they want to pass more laws.
Yep.
Right. That affects people like you. Yes.
I don't get it.
This is the kind of stuff that I fight against, and I understand how you guys sometimes feel muzzled because if you make waves, your desk jockey appointed law enforcement bosses, they always side with the bureaucrats
Exactly.
who are always ignorant, they're always corrupt, they're always wrong. And since you got rid of Giuliano and Bernie Kerik, I mean, I don't even know what the hierarchy is in New York, but I know you got some real warriors that are your top brass, but you've also got some guys that wouldn't know a hollow point from a boulder.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's for the active guys, they really don't have a say. Even the retired guys, the real pressure comes from the unions. So a cop here, we have 35,000 in New York City. We have 35,000 NYPD, broken up between a handful of different unions: the sergeants union, the detectives union, blah blah blah. They need to get together. I call it unite the clans, like in Braveheart. You got to unite the clans, and you got to come together with a resolution or a solution to go to the mayor and say, look, this is how it's got to go down. But they all worried about each other. So the Captains Endowment Association, they work a little bit with the Lieutenants Association. They do their thing. The police, the PBA, the Patrolmen's Benevolent, they're the biggest. So they feel, I think, that they are, listen, I'm the big dog here. We have the most representation. I'm going to be in charge of that negotiation. So it's kind of like a who's got the bigger wang, They need to get together and say, look, we control the crime and the effectiveness of the police department in this place. If you want to lose big business, if you want these companies to pull out of Manhattan and never come back, and the revenue that's lost because you can't get your heads out of your asses, then so be it. But that's what needs to get done. And I feel badly, actually, for the smaller places, the smaller departments, like Minneapolis and Portland, that are doing nothing. They're being told to, I mean, as bad as the NYPD is when they're told to go to a protest and not wear their helmet. It used to be, we call it hats and bats. Hats and bats was make sure you had your nightstick, make sure you had your riot gear. You had to have your helmet on. Now, that looks like a form of aggression, so they don't do it, and guys get hurt.
You guys are exposing all these bizarre limitations for the law enforcement heroes. Are you telling me that you don't have adequate leadership that can make the inescapable, logical, scientifically proven case that when you limit the arsenal, when you limit the firepower, when you limit the magazine capacity, when you limit the caliber, when you limit the ammo design for the good guys, that the bad guys will have the advantage? Your bosses, there are some idiot bosses in law enforcement that if they can't make the case that when you limit the capabilities, the tactics, and the hardware of law enforcement, the bad guys aren't going to adhere to those regulations.
Correct.
So you're literally intentionally designing shortcomings for the good guys and ignoring that the bad guys could give a rat's ass whether they can have hollow points or not.
The strong
boy.
boy.
But answer that question. You don't have leadership that can make that point because, by the way, the evidence is unlimited. The scientific evidence,
The data's there.
Joint homicide
Sure.
detective Evan Marshall has studied millions of shootings, and he has all the evidence that the hollow point is beneficial for the good guys. It neutralizes the threat more efficiently, and that magazine capacity and ammo design and calibers and backup guns and AR-15s and whatever, all that stuff, the evidence is irrefutable and unlimited that their restrictions on you guys, or quite honestly, restrictions on law-abiding citizens, have nothing to do with the engineered recidivism. I want you guys to write that term down. Engineered recidivism. You will be looking down the barrel of the same damn guns in the same damn punks' hands because de Blasio and people like that engineer recidivism. And I'm just a guitar player, and I figured that out. Are you telling me you don't have leadership that can make that case?
Well, you know what it is, Ted? Honestly, the strong leaders that, especially the ones that have their time, they're fleeing the profession. They're retiring in droves because the tide is just so heavy right now, and they see it. I mean, the angling against law enforcement. I mean, we've been talking the last couple of weeks in Detroit. They actually want the cops there to take out their own liability policy so they can be sued and be held liable themselves, and the city and the state
Can wash their hands of it.
can wash their. I mean, the tide against law enforcement is so heavy right now that these bosses that are that strong, that are strong enough to do it, are just like, you know what, I got to get out of here while I can get out of here.
But the other thing is that you're looking at it's a paramilitary organization. So in the NYPD, the supervisors are from police officer up, or sergeant, lieutenant, captain, inspector, chief. There's only one or two or three that have the ear of the commissioner. And the commissioner, obviously, the mayor tells the commissioner what to do, and the commissioner, it shit rolls downhill. So if you have a two, and we got the 4-star chief is the chief of department. So if you have an active 2-star chief, guy with 30 years on the job, that knows what needs to get done, and he orders something that's not, PC, then he winds up getting his ass chewed. He loses a star. He takes a demotion, and now he doesn't have, or she doesn't have the equipment themselves to continue to protect these cops. It comes down to one or two different people. Now, last week at the Occupy Wall Street, there was a new chief of special operations came in, and the first thing they did, they hit the Occupy Wall Street encampment at City Hall, Occupy City Hall, and they wiped them out at 4 o'clock in the morning. The upper...
Well, when you have an avowed communist as a mayor, de Blasio, and again, this seems like harsh terms, but I'm stating the obvious.
Of course.
The guy's a communist. He wouldn't know a Daisy Red Ryder from a whammo slingshot.
Nope.
And he's going to dictate armament for the heroes on the streets.
And police policy.
He used to let murderers out.
Yeah.
Police policy. So,
What I'd like you guys to do, I was born in Detroit. And when I was born in Detroit in 1948, it was globally driving cars and trucks, and we started making tanks and howitzers and bombers. And there was a pride of, just like there was all across the country, pride of defeating the evil Japanese Empire and the Nazis. And the GIs were a ferocious warrior because they were coming home to the only individual freedoms guaranteed by a document in the world. So they had a little more ferocity. They had a little bit more warrior spirit and indefatigable warrior attack against the enemy. But right now, in 2020, Detroit, that I miss dearly, and it's still a wreck for the most part, but there's great, great people, great families, but most importantly, study the great Detroit Police Chief James Craig.
Yep.
He is phenomenal.
He's on point.
This guy has made a decree. Nobody's burning squat in my city.
Nope. Yep.
Nobody's graffitiing nothing in my city. Nobody's tearing down any statues in my city. He's got the backing of not just the troops in the Detroit Police Department or a bunch of agencies around the state, but he's also got the support of the neighborhood, the citizens, that they're not throwing water on cops. They're not, beating cops with bricks and 2x4s. So what Chief of Police Detroit James Craig has done should be a model and a guiding light
I
for
agree.
all law enforcement
Exactly.
bosses across this country. And you can always reference his tactics and his modus operandi that has been totally successful. There's no Seattle or Portland or New York City crap going on in Detroit.
No way.
And Detroit is notorious for being a violent city as it is. But Chief James Craig has got it down. So I think the entire nation law enforcement family should study what this great chief is doing in Detroit.
They just got to kind of follow that pattern. Here's a guy that's not afraid. About 2.5 weeks ago, one of his officers was involved in a shooting, and the first thing he did was like, "I'm not going to condemn this officer. We're gonna figure out what went wrong, what went right. We totally have their back. No suspension without pay. In New York City, if a cop puts his arm or her arm even near someone's neck during an arrest, they're automatically suspended without pay. So now you got to lose 30 days of your salary. That listen, most of us, when I was a cop, most of us were living paycheck to paycheck. All right, it's not a high-paying job. So you take 30 days' pay away from an officer for fighting for their lives, and he didn't do that. He said, no, you're not being suspended. We're going to modify you. We're going to put you on limited duty. We're going to figure out what's what, and that's that. I got your back. And that's the way it should be. But he also, I'm assuming he must have the support of the mayor. The mayor's all...
Mayor Dugan in Detroit is a Republican,
Yeah.
and he really sides with, obviously he sides with truth, logic, common sense, and law and order.
Law.
So he's not like anybody in New York City or New Jersey.
Or Chicago or Baltimore. They're a mess.
That's
They're
right.
just giving their
And
cities away.
By the way, I know there's some great, great law enforcement bosses in New York and New Jersey, even in Chicago. I remember when McCarty,
Gary McCarthy. He was an
Chicago.
NYPD guy.
He did a great job. I remember, I don't know if you guys know, but I hear from cops every day. I have a great communication network with the men and women of blue. And whenever a cop is injured or killed in the line of duty, I immediately reach out and offer our condolences and offer our support. And we raised a lot of money for the families of cops killed in the line of duty. So when I make those phone calls, I can hear over the phone the rarity of someone just randomly reaching out and saying thank you. So I would like to encourage, and I know, is this what we're doing right here? Is this podcast like the vast majority of cops listening, or do we have a lot of citizens listening as well?
We have a. I would say it's probably 70% of officers and about 30% of supporters. The group, the BBO, Mike Burke, and brothers, 4 others, has a very large following of supporters that are not law enforcement that follow what we do and chime in. They're posting right now while we're having the show. So yeah, we do have a lot of civilians here.
Well, I'm reaching out to them because there's not enough activism by the civilians who understand the plight and the abuse that is being leveled at law enforcement across this country. And right now, in July of 2020, I've never seen anything so toxic and vulgar in my life. It absolutely breaks my heart. So
Well, here's the thing.
That's why I'm doing it.
Look what happened last week. I mean, you, along with other supporters of law enforcement, were invited last week to speak publicly at a rally to support our law enforcement community. This is like the USO for the police department. You can't shut that down. No. The Nassau County Executive, Laura Curran, she got involved. I've seen some of the vulgar and disgusting things she was saying about you personally, just in an effort to smear you into not coming. And was like, and basically, you guys were like, yeah, keep that. We'll see you on Saturday. We can talk about it. But that didn't work for her. It didn't work for her because she couldn't bully you guys out. You and the congressman. She couldn't bully you guys out. So what does she do? She goes to the governor. She goes to the governor's office and told the Governor Cuomo was sending officials from the health department to basically meet you guys at the airport and give you two options: either self-quarantine for 14 days
House
or
arrest.
turn around and go home. Now, that's not really an option.
Yeah.
There was no option here. I mean, the trash newspaper here, I won't even say the name of it because I don't want to give them any props. They published an article and said that Ted Nugent backed out of this event. And I called Josh up. My head almost blew up.
Yep.
I'm like,
Yeah,
are you...
let me tell you guys, I have a buddy named Greg Mosing down in Louisiana. This guy spent over $100,000 to say thank you to the law enforcement of the NYPD and in your neck of the woods. This guy jetted from Louisiana and picked me up in Texas. I was busy. I was already booked, but I canceled everything.
What's his
When
name?
I get a call by the Blue Eye Just Come, and we flew up to Dulles and picked up the great Congressman Clay Higgins, and we were ready to fly to New York. I mean, Greg had spent over $100,000 to say thank you to the NYPD, and then we get this threat. And let me just call out, you know, we talk about corruption and criminal abuse of power and the liars. How about the liars? Kevin Abrahams, Sheila Boyne, Kerry Sologis, Deborah Mule, Ella Burnham, Arnie Drucker. How about the soullessness, the mean-spirited, nasty, rotten liars that they are when they actually called me a racist, a homophobe, and an anti-Semite? Maybe they should have called some of my black or gay or Jewish friends that I've been surrounded with for over 60 years in my career, and they're my dearest friends because I never judge by anything except content of character. Everybody knows that, but those 6 punks are addicted to hate, and they lied because they know they can't debate me. You debate me, I'll eat you alive, because all the people who hate me are liars, and they have no evidence, they have no facts to back up anything they say, and they should be ashamed of themselves. Their families should be ashamed of them. Their constituents should be ashamed of them because they're liars and they're haters. And what's the worst thing that a man can do to another man? Falsely accuse. They falsely accused me of some of the worst conditions of mankind because they're haters and they're liars.
That's it. Look a man in the eye and just lie to his face or her face. Look right in the eye and lie. That's honestly, that is the worst thing you can do. For me, we're very similar core values, Ted. If you're a good person, you're an asset to your family, you're an asset to society, and you got a good heart, and you live a good life, and you help people, you're good. You're with me. But to look me in the eye and say one thing and then tomorrow say something else, or it just lie or spread rumors, it's just it eats me alive.
Are you recognizing that that's becoming, you know? And I hate to single out a gang, but when you identify an MS-13, I mean, if you're a member of MS-13, then your battle cry is rape, torture, and murder. That's the gang you're in.
Sure.
And if you're a member of Black Lives Matter, then you torch and you arson and you beat and you, I mean, I think that Sam Black Lives Matter gang killed that retired cop in St. Louis.
Absolutely.
So we know that they're not about black lives.
Nope.
They're about destroying America. I mean, their website proves that they have nothing to do with George Floyd or any black lives. And then you've got your these gangs that the Democrats continue to support.
Well, it's not even support.
Do you know any honest Democrats? I haven't seen one in years.
Listen, we can all breathe easier because Nadler assured everyone that Antifa is imagined.
Yeah, it's a myth.
It's made up.
It's a myth, he said.
It's a myth in
It's a
D.C.
myth.
We can all, everybody can relax. There's no fires.
You know what else is a myth? I think his belly button's a myth.
It's almost-
Because his pants go up to his nipples, so his belly button hasn't seen the light of day in years.
Remember that minister of information during the Iraq War that would always come out, like you'd actually see the buildings getting bombed in the background, and he's assuring his people, there's nothing wrong here. We are winning the war. We are in control.
My
we are
God.
beating back the United States
Yeah,
forces.
what
That's
I'm
Nadler.
talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Is there an honest bone in the Democrat Party? I watch these people spew hate. This Rashid Tlaib out of Detroit.
Ilhan Omar.
Oh, God.
Attorney General Barr with lies, vicious, nasty. Every word out of her mouth was a lie. And we have all the proof and evidence to prove prove that everything she says is a lie. Who the hell votes for these people?
Again, it comes down to accountability. She could stand there and say all she wants, especially in that setting. Was it Hanono from no. I think it was Talib was yelling at AG Barr, "Sir, you're disrespecting me. This is my time. This is my time. I get it. It's your time, but obviously this was not a hearing at all. This was a lynching. I'm gonna throw my 2 cents out there. I might ask you a question, but before you can answer it, I'm just gonna yield my time and move on. And it was to the point of you felt badly. I honestly, I can't believe he didn't just at some point say, you know what, guys, I didn't come here for this. I did not come here for this. And I'm surprised that the Republicans, who were friendly to him, obviously, didn't offer that up. Excuse me, because at one point he said to Barr said to Nadler after he was just beaten up verbally by one of the females, he said, I need a 5-minute break. Can I have a 5-minute break? And Nadler said no. He said no. At that point, you treat me like a kid. I get up and I say, I have to go to the bathroom. If you don't want me to leave, I'll piss right here.
I think we saw it right in your home turf there when is it Congressman Peter? Is that what he is? A congressman?
Oh, Peter King.
Peter King.
Yeah, he's out in Long Island.
He sided with the liars and haters.
Yes, he did.
He would not call out the undeniable lies and hate of those Democrats as they spewed these false allegations against me, as I went out of my way with a guy that spent a fortune to get the great Congressman Clay Higgins and I there at the request of the NYPD. We were their invited guests, and Peter King didn't do anything right.
It's because he's not running.
With the haters. He should be ashamed of himself.
It's because he's not running. If he was running, he ran on that pro-police platform his whole career. He decided he wasn't going to run for re-election, so therefore he can drop the facade. His true colors showed this weekend.
That's for
100%.
sure.
His true colors showed this weekend.
Well, guys, I want you to know that I'm not done yet. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed about this, me, but I had a bumper crop of crowbars this year, and I'm ready to use them whenever I want to. And I got to tell you, I still support you guys 100%. Like I said, I'm in touch with cops and their families all across this country. I have a 31-year charity called the Ted Nugent Camp for Kids that's run by a bunch of heroes of law enforcement, some SWAT guys, Paul Malone and his guys in the Omaha PD out there. And we have cops and soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines and just the greatest families in the world that come out and teach these kids that being clean and sober is the best way, and law and order is the only way, and to respect the heroes of law enforcement and the military, and to aim small, miss small, safe gun handling, archery, hunting, fishing, camping, canoeing, boating, trapping, survival skills in the great outdoors, respecting nature as an asset, and putting more back in than you take. And that's a non-profit charity called the Ted Nugent Camp for Kids, and it's pretty much run like a military camp, even though the kids are only from 7 to 17.
That's good. Get them young. That's good.
We've been doing it for 31 years, and we've graduated thousands and thousands of children all across this country, and one of our main battle cries is to always thank the heroes of law enforcement. So I've always done my part, and whenever we can make another salute to the men and women of blue, I want you to know that I'm there for you.
Well, it's funny. I just read an article about that charity, and there was a recent class that went through which had a bunch of kids whose parents went through it. These were like the children of folks that went through that program. So
that's right. No, we started way back in 1989.
I mean that's dynamite.
We've got moms and dads bringing their kids that were the kids at my first camps. Yeah, so it's really contagious because everybody around me, everybody in my life, I mean, is all positive. Everybody's hard-working, positive, positive spirit, positive energy, a great attitude. So that's really why those 6 Democrats hate me. Because we're in the asset column. That's why they hate me, because I teach children
you got check marks.
About conservation and stuff. I think they hate me because I teach children about being clean and sober, because based on the letter they signed, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, Ted. And listen, Linda's going to yell at me if I don't keep you watch your time, Ted, because you got your own. You got a spirit.
I got my campfire, but
you have the spirit campfire tonight. I promised her that I'd have you out in time to prepare for your show.
Well, it's my honor to be here with you guys, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm here in Central Texas. We moved here 18 years ago, and we have have quite a steel plate range. I got a bunch of LaRue Tactic
nice.
reset
Excellent.
plates. And I train out here with the Delta Force and the Special Forces and the Navy SEALs and the Army Rangers and the Green Beret and SWAT and the Sheriff's Department and
Nice.
the police SWAT come out here. So my life really is the American dream. I've got an M4, and we train with full auto, and we train at 100 yards with my Glock 10 millimeter. So that aim small, miss small discipline, especially when you've been clean and sober your whole life.
Be careful. There'll be
It's
guys in
really-
black. There'll be guys in black masks knocking on your door tomorrow morning. Ted. You got to be careful.
That's it.
Believe me, that lifestyle out here of total freedom in Texas, it's so rewarding. I would hope that someday maybe you guys, maybe get with my buddy Lenny DePaul, the great U.S. Marshal Commander, New Jersey, New York Task Force. Maybe we can all get you guys out here sometime. And
I'd do that in a heartbeat. I said, I've been hunting and fishing my whole life. I'd be out there in a heartbeat.
I'll love to
let
be
you
there.
Go up and, I got a buddy with an Apache attack helicopter with a GE minigun. It will be
Beautiful. That's cool, man.
Listen, Ted. Again, I know I hit on it on Saturday, but I want to hit on it again too, so everybody can hear exactly what I had said. You deserve better, both you and a congressman, this weekend, and you deserve better from the people that you were actually coming out to support. It was embarrassing for us to, the guys involved, for me, and then Dave and Rob and everybody that was out there, Kyle. We were all watching this unfold. It was embarrassing for us to see the way you guys were being treated when you were using your own time, your own resources to get out there just to boost morale, which is desperately needed from the active side of the fence. I know we talked about it. It is desperately needed. And when guys like you, who don't have to use your voice, you don't have to say anything. You don't have you put your time in. You did your heavy lifting. You don't have to say anything. And for guys like you to lend your voice,
It's like inviting your friends over, and your mom says, "Oh, they can't come in." You're like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
I mean,
you're embarrassed almost to the point." You're like,
the guys who are active realize how precious of a thing that is. To see it squandered, that's exactly what it was. To see that squandered and almost thrown back at you again was embarrassing. And I
want you guys to know. I want you guys to know that, of course, we were really pissed off, but not on our behalf, because I came home and I went fishing. I hugged my dog and squirmed with Mrs. Nugent. I had the time of my life that night. But so the lying punks, the bureaucrat, corrupt, criminal punks, they didn't hurt us. They hurt you guys. They hurt law enforcement. They hurt law and order.
Yes. Because
it sends another message that when we see three people throwing water on cops, we're going to chuckle.
Yep.
We're not going to stop it. When we release all these murders and some 105-time arrested punk cold cocks and 92-year-old woman, we're not even going to change our modus operandi. We're going to keep letting these demons out.
Yep.
So it hurt us because they hurt you guys, and it's absolutely unforgivable.
And you know who they really hurt, and only because I promised that I'd mention it. The kids whose house, Jimmy Dunphy, we were supposed to be barbecuing at his house. We had one of the guys that we're good friends with, Marcus Cicerano. He actually just retired, and he is a huge Ted Nugent fan. So we didn't even tell him. We were just going to have him come over for the barbecue. And so you was going to be the surprise that you were there.
And I was looking forward to that. I was looking forward to that. Yeah.
So he would have shit himself. So Cuomo actually screwed up Marcus's retirement. So
add it to the list.
I'll make up for it, guys. My beautiful family lives there in Connecticut. Sasha and her wonderful family. Yeah. My son Fleetwood lives there in Staten Island with his beautiful wife and daughters. I have a lot of friends there. My buddy Dennis Arfa and Adam Kern, they're my booking agent for over 50 years. I have so many friends in New York. Michael Cardelloni, my drummer with the damn Yankees. I've been coming to New York City since 1967. Every year with the Amboy Dukes, starting in 1967. I love New York. I love the good people there because they're mostly good people. A lot of them have been brainwashed by the propaganda ministry, leftist, Marxist media, and your Marxist governor and your Marxist mayor. But the heart and soul of New York is one of my favorite places, and it's not just because of the food. I'll never forget last year on tour, I was having the greatest tour of my life last year, just literally out of body, or samurai Bruce Lee guitar licks. And I saw where the punks, the thugs, were throwing water on the cops. So I got a hold of Lenny DePaul, and he introduced me to Mark Wilson, the chief down there in the Bronx. And I spent the whole damn day with those heroes of the men and women in blue, and I could tell that their morale was shattered because the authorities, their bosses, were siding with the thugs instead of the heroes. So that was a great, great day for me. And I'll tell you, I'm 72, and I'm going to get tired someday. But right now, I'm locked and ready to rock the clock, Doc. And if ever you need Uncle Ted to come in and play the national anthem for the troops or cook up a good venison backstrap, I would love to take that invitation.
Listen, I've been talking to Chinese for the last couple of days. I am fairly confident we have not seen the last of Uncle Ted in the tri-state area. I call it a sneaky suspicion. Call it a sneaky suspicion.
I guarantee, and I want to thank David Chianese and Kyle Reyes and certainly Congressman Clay Higgins and Lenny DePaul and all of you guys. I mean, everybody at the advocacy for law enforcement officers and law enforcement today, and the Brothers Before Others. I met so many wonderful, wonderful people. And to be denied entry as a free American, to be denied entry into a state, to say thank you to the cops, may be the lowest the Democrats have ever gone.
That's exactly what.
It's heartbreaking.
That's exactly what Linda was saying. She's saying she's been with you now for 30 years, and she said she swore what she was getting reported back to her was either a joke or just rumors. Like, she couldn't believe that it was the most vile thing.
They committed political suicide.
No, they didn't, because there's no accountability. You commit political suicide when you shoot yourself in the foot, and actually there's repercussions for what you've done. There's no repercussions because we're in New York, and they don't have to answer for it. They'll get reelected, and people just forget, unfortunately. We just can't give up that fight.
All I can tell you is the Nugent battle cry for my family, my brother, my sister, my sons and daughters, and all my grandkids, and all my band and crew, and my management, my team, all my hunting buddies, everybody with the Ted Nugent world, which is all the best people on planet Earth. We cherish law and order. We know that law and order is paid for with blood and guts and heartbreak and loss and sacrifice. We know that. And now more than ever, we're watching these bureaucrats declawing the cops while they pass out ammo to the bad guys. So I want you to know that we are here for you, and don't ever let these idiots get you down. No matter how stupid they get, just cock your shoulders back and stand upright and know that you're the good guys, that you're valued, you're cherished, you're appreciated, and you're supported by all the best Americans in the world. And when the punks hate you like they do, that's a badge of honor.
I love it.
We will. Linda will stab Josh the next time. We're going to leave this with a few things, a couple of plugs for you that we know of. The podcast Spirit Campfire is every Monday and Thursday at 9 Eastern on Facebook and YouTube.
And I'll tell you, too, guys, come visit my Facebook. I'm on my Facebook every day a couple times in between checking trap lines and shooting machine guns and kisses Mrs. Nugent. By the way, how about a moment of silence for Mrs. Nugent? Is that one fine human being or what?
No, anyhow,
all I can tell you is that if you guys would come to my Facebook and see the positive energy, the appreciation of law and order, the appreciation of God, family, country, Constitution, law and order, I mean, if you landed on planet Earth and your first exposure to anything was the Ted Nugent Facebook, you swear to God you landed in heaven.
Hell yeah.
You landed in Nuge camp.
Facebook, they're such good families. So you guys come and join and chime in, too.
Absolutely.
You guys get out there and make a comment. I'd love to hear from
Absolutely.
you. I'm there every day. I communicate. It's like an electronic campfire. That's why we call my John Brinkus Get Down, this great co-host I have is an award-winning ESPN guy. And John and I are just motivated beyond words, the positive energy and spirit and the piss and vinegar and the shit-kicker attitude.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. It'll remind you that there's still perfection in America.
You may have to shut me up, Ted, because I own a company called Line of Duty Cigars, and I spend a lot of time on Facebook. And I'm pretty vocal. I chime in a lot of places. And as I said, as a hunter and a lifelong fishing hunting guy, you might be like, all right, Tom, enough. I heard about you 3 times today.
No,
But we'll definitely follow that.
I got to tell you, I've been clean and sober all my life. No drugs or alcohol or tobacco, though I did have a little glass of wine with my venison tonight. That little red wine, that's good for you.
Nothing
But
wrong with that.
anyhow, I want you to know that when I shoot my machine gun, sometimes we have a big old bonfire out here, and we just shoot machine guns because it's fun, damn it.
There
And when
it
I
is.
shoot a machine gun, I think I get this Sergeant Rock thing going, and I get a big old Cuban stogie in my mouth, and we just kind of chew on it. So if you want to give me some machine gun inspiration stogies, I'll be glad to celebrate.
They are on the way, my friend. They are on the way. And the last piece we'll touch is a Hunt the Vote. What is Hunt the Vote? That's sort of like Rock the Vote, where rock and rollers come out and try.
I'm telling you, if we don't accomplish anything, we got to accomplish this. Everybody, write this down. In 2016, I went nuts. I'm real good at it. In Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, because those are the top hunting licensed states in the nation. I finally got licensed hunting families that heretofore didn't vote, guys. They didn't vote. We have huntthevote.org. I'm telling you, huntthevote.org. You don't even have to be a hunter. It doesn't cost you any money. We got money behind this. We have the statistics and we have the manpower. And we're not going to tell you who to vote for. Go to huntthevote.org and just pledge that you will be registered and vote God, family, country,
That's it.
freedom, Constitution.
Absolutely.
Huntthevote.org.
If you don't vote, you don't have a say. And if you don't have a say, I don't want to hear you complain about anything. I don't want to hear you bitching and moaning about the mayor, the governor, the president, anything. If you don't vote, keep your mouth shut. Simple as that.
And by the way, let me summarize it this way. So I'm going to go start my spirit campfire. But let me summarize it this way. If you're not raising hell, if you're not demanding constitutional accountability from all your elected employees, and if you're not registered and vote God, family, country, there's a flag-draped coffin that you just pissed on.
You're right.
I'm telling
You're
you,
right.
it's that serious.
Yeah.
I have saluted so many flag-draped coffins, and they all died for the Constitution. They charged into that fire because of their oath to the Constitution. And when you don't vote, that flag-draped coffin is pissed on. And that is so un-American. This is an experiment in self-government. That means everybody is supposed to be in charge. And we're not holding their feet to the fire. Huntthevote.org. Register, be a voting army for God, family, country, and law enforcement.
Absolutely.
Ted, God bless you, Ted.
Thank you so much. Again, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you got a show to do yourself, Spirit Campfire. You guys want to chime in, Spirit Campfire tonight, 9 o'clock, Facebook and YouTube, every Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
So you guys want to chime in and carry it on and listen to what our good friend Uncle Ted has to say.
Ted, thank you again.
Well,
Like I
God
said,
bless you guys. Thank you so
God
much.
bless
Thank
you.
you so much.
Family,
Nice meeting
everybody.
you.
All right, take care.
A big salute. I look forward to sharing a campfire with you, a real campfire.
You got it,
someday,
brother.
Guys. God bless you.
That's a date.
Keep your
Yeah.
spirit up.
I'm waiting for that helicopter to come, though. I'm only coming if you're sending that helicopter for me.
I want to see it too. I have a ride on it.
I'm telling you, it's so much fun. My best day is 469 pigs with my M4.
Oh, dude.
And I'm telling you, you want the greatest organic pork in the world. We
Yep.
have a team, a charity called Hogs for a Cause. And, guys, we donate tons of pure
Literally.
organic, natural pork to soup kitchens and homeless shelters. It's absolutely perfect. I feel like Mother Teresa with a machine
I'm
gun.
hungry now.
Mother Teresa with a machine gun.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Ted, listen, thank you again, seriously, and
All right, guys.
we are gonna make make it up to you. Jersey, New York, the tri-state area, we're gonna make it up to you. I promise.
You don't owe me Jack Diddley. We're going to do it right someday. We'll get past the criminals and the corruption and the liars and the haters. We'll get past those punks. Don't
All right,
worry
that's a
about
deal. That's a deal.
Hell yeah.
All right.
All right, guys.
Have a great show
All
tonight,
right, take
Ted.
care, Ted.
Be safe.
All right, you too, brother.
All right, same to you. Wow. That was epic.
That was a great show.
He's-
Great piece, man. He's
He's
there.
a machine, man.
But
He
that's
is a
everything we
machine.
expected, right? I mean,
You know,
we if you know anything about Ted Nugent, you know you got 100% pure Ted Nugent right there.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
no holding back, no bullshit. This is what I feel. You don't like it, too bad. And zero resentment at all. Like what he said, he didn't backtrack on anything. God bless
Yeah.
him.
No,
Good-
dude,
good for him.
unbelievable.
Good for him.
Unbelievable, man. And like I said, what went down this weekend. You know, we were talking about it before while waiting for him to call in. I mean, dude, if I had a tinfoil hat on before,
It's got another antenna you added onto it?
I really got a tinfoil hat on. Yeah, no, it was to watch how fast government on all levels mobilizes when they want to do something.
They want to get something done.
When they want to do something.
But here,
big.
it's just a phone call.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be explained. What is it you need done and why? Oh, yeah, screw that guy. Screw those guys and just get it done.
Yep.
We'll threaten A, B, and C. You don't like it, too bad. Again, and there's no accountability. It's just not you can question anyone on this stuff. It's just it is what it is. We're on the wrong side of the aisle right now.
The question
We're on
is
the right
how-
side of the aisle. They're on the wrong side of the
The
aisle.
question is, how long can that last? How long can they go?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I mean, that's all you can say is I guess we'll find out.
Well, listen, you know, with this whole COVID thing, it is all to. Well, I shouldn't say again. I got to put my disclaimer on it. 'Cause everybody gets cranky with me when I downplay COVID. COVID is real. Josh acknowledges that COVID is real and people have died from COVID. Josh acknowledges.
Johnny,
that.
more tinfoil, please.
Yeah.
More tinfoil. He's going to short out. He's going to short out.
But
It's
if
being
you-
weaponized.
If you 100%, if you don't think you see now, Fauci says he wants people to wear goggles.
Oh God!
Yeah, I mean, they are doing everything to keep the United States in a state of panic to try to affect the voter turnout, because voter turnout being low is only going to hurt the Republicans.
I was in Walmart today. I told you earlier in Secaucus. There were people walking around
That's your
with
first mistake.
with snorkels. They had
What?
snorkels. They had masks.
Snorkels?
Snorkel. They had a mask on and a breathing tube up like this
oh my!
to get away from the COVID.
Sheeple, man, sheep. What the hell? I don't wear a mask when I go outside.
You need to have a snorkel with the big fins too, so you don't get the
middle
COVID
finger
feet.
to that. No,
No COVID feet.
I don't know.
Oh Jesus Christmas!
All right, so you in your moment of silence,
Yeah.
you had referenced JD.
Yep, wearing a hat. I'm still wearing a hat, right? Yep, I didn't
We
change
got Cassie on the line. Cassie Lorette. Cassie, you there?
I am.
Ah, there you are. How are you?
I am well. How are you guys?
Old and tired, but inspired now. I mean,
Well,
if you
it. Tired and inspired.
if you heard Uncle Ted, he is
He wore you out?
he's a machine. He is absolutely a machine. You know, an unabated patriot. Still 72 years old. You know, and it's funny. It's hard to imagine. There aren't many artists. There aren't many celebrities. There aren't many people, for that matter, that at 72 years old can still be pumping out a message that is reaching generations beyond
him.
You know.
No,
So-
and his wife. His wife as well. They're
Yep.
both
I like
very
this little
powerful
shout out to
individuals.
his wife, right?
Yeah.
Can we have a moment of silence for the beautiful,
beautiful-
Ms. Nugent?
Cassie Lorette.
Yes,
You made a reference to JD.
Yes, correct.
I did.
Well, Josh did.
I
Where's the connection
ahead.
here?
What's that?
Yeah, there.
Yeah,
guys, yeah.
we had mentioned JD de Guzman earlier, and then
Yeah.
there's a connection here between
Yes.
you and JD, obviously.
Correct.
Yes, absolutely. So JD and I were partners for several years on two different
okay.
teams with the police
Okay.
department, San Diego
Gotcha.
Police Department.
Now
Uh-huh.
it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know where he was coming from.
Got it.
He was a gang. It was a gang team. Is that what he? I know that's what he was in. Were you guys doing similar work?
Yeah, so we started out together in a different division in the gang unit, but we started out as partners in a proactive team in a smaller division, and then he left and went to the gang unit, which is San Diego citywide, and it was about a year and a half, and I was fortunate enough to go to the gang unit as well, and we became partners again.
All right,
So
well,
we
thank
worked
you
together for a
for.
total of about 6 years.
Then I can't thank you enough for calling in. I mean, I'm sure this week for anyone that worked with him or knew him in any capacity has got to be a real tough week for you guys. So condolences and for you to take the time and
Thank you.
come in. We discussed the event earlier, and I don't feel the need to discuss it
Yeah.
any further. But anything you want to share about him in general,
Yeah,
maybe something
absolutely.
personal, or most of us don't have personal connection to line of duty death folks unless they work with them. So anything you can share.
Yeah, it's weird because you go through your career and you hear about it, and it bothers you, but then when it actually happens to you, it's a different animal.
Yeah.
So just this is just my piece of JD. There's so many people, not just within the San Diego Police Department, but so many people who he affected. So this is my piece of him that I just want to share with you. When I met him, I didn't know anything about him. He was very unassuming. He was quiet, very humble, and he'd been on for a while. He'd already earned a Purple Heart. He'd been stabbed
Jesus.
on a traffic stop, and he was able to fire back and hit the guy. And he did what needed to be done, and he never talked about it. And I actually didn't even know about it for quite some time. But so again,
and
I
that's
met
San
him,
Diego.
and,
Like you don't think of things like that in San Diego. You think of that in Chicago, and New York, and LA, and Miami. I mean, I know that you've got some
it's a lot less
immigration
common.
stuff. I'm sorry.
It's a lot less common, I would say. The violence we face, it exists. It's a lot less common, but it does happen.
Yeah, but for the same guy that stabbed 1 year and then years later in a shooting where he's oh my Lord, like that's.
Yeah. And so he immigrated from the Philippines to the United States. Was very self-driven, like I said, very motivated, very humble, hard worker, incredibly hard worker. I said this, like, I wish I'd been more prepared at his funeral because I spoke, and I can't even listen. You kind of cringe because you feel like it doesn't serve him. Mm-hmm. You can never say enough about somebody that you respect as much. But he consistently came to work like with a positive mental attitude. He couldn't wait to go to work. And some days, you show up and you're just not into it. He didn't have those days. He just always came. He was ready to go. He was always volunteering to stay late if he needed to come early, but he didn't neglect his family in the sense that he took his days off. His family was extremely important. He had an ability to keep his family separate from the police department, not in a negative way, but he spent the time with his family and his extended family, which I met at the funeral, and I had never met many of them before. I did meet his wife, and he has two really successful, amazing kids that are really thriving despite the tragedy. But he just came to work all the time, and he just wanted to go out and do the job, and he believed in it. A lot of people stop believing. They get jaded, bad experiences. I don't know, getting stabbed in the neck. Might
you think?
It didn't.
Yeah, you think that might slow someone down?
He still wanted to go out, and he still believed like there were good people. I remember like he would talk. He was also very involved in the Catholic Church, like his family and him. And when people would say negative things about and we have a lot of transients. Well, I think everyone, but it's pretty bad. He would just talk about how he felt bad for him, and I think he even talked about like how his son made sandwiches as part of a church group, and when his son was much younger, and he would drive them out to go give sandwiches to transients, people who didn't have anything. And I'm not saying most cops, but sometimes you just get a little frustrated or you get jaded, and you don't have it in you to do it on your off time. But he never lost it. Mm-hmm. So. So when, like I said, I first met him, didn't know anything about him, learned more about him, and we became partners and just really good friends. And
well, that's
I don't
terrible.
know.
I've never, honestly, I knock on wood. I've never, I've had some line of duty deaths of people I knew, no one in my teams that I worked with, and no one that I was that close with. I can't, it's family. It's like it's a brother or sister, which I have lost a few of those, but that's just. Yeah, it's a shitty thing.
No,
like I said, it's one of those things we've lost. It's a huge tragedy to me because he was my partner for quite a while. But we have had line of duty deaths in San Diego since I've been on, and they've all hit home. And you go to their funerals, and it's very moving and it's upsetting, and it does something to you. But like you said, when it's your partner,
when it's that close, it's a whole different animal.
It's a different thing, totally different. Ugh. So, but I can't. I wish that I wish that everybody had the opportunity to meet him.
Well, those that haven't,
had so much
it's important that we continue with their memory. You know, we when we do our line of duty deaths, we try and go back during the week and see whose anniversary it is, and obviously having folks like you call in and say, hey, you know, there's more stuff going on here that you know about or you don't know. I mean, to share that, and that's the most that we can do in remembering people and honoring them is to talk about them. So as hard as it is,
absolutely.
but that's the truth. You can't. I lost my dad in 2012. It's very sad. He was my best friend. But if anyone would say, "Tell me something about your father," I light up like a Christmas tree. I'll sit down and I'll talk about this man for hours, and that's how you honor them.
You saw it. You saw too how loved. Everything you're saying obviously has to be accurate because you saw how loved he was. Yesterday, I mean, Facebook, at least my feed was flooded between, you know, the private pages, BBO, the first responder whiskey page, like all the tributes that were up.
I just have to say, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I have to say, like BBO, like right after it happened, I had become involved with BBO right before it occurred, and I didn't. I mean, I was just barely on board with y'all, and
don't worry about it. I'm still barely on board with Burke anyway, so that's okay.
Yeah, okay. But just the outreach. I mean, the amount of messages that I received. Do you need anything? And to this day, people still reach out, and it's, you know, and I've become kind of a recluse. I've become what JD would have never become, which is a little bit pissed off, a little bit disgruntled. I still go to work. I still work as hard as I can, but you know, some of us get a chip, and it. What keeps me going, though, is like, it's weird, like you talk about your father. Some people keep you going when things are hard, like when you want to quit or you're over it.
Right.
It's people like probably your father and people like GD that make you go, you know, you don't get to quit.
Nope.
That's not, you don't get that option.
Definitely not.
100%.
Definitely
So
not.
Do not.
He's made me a much better person, both in his life and in his passing. And he's made me a much better person than I would have ever been.
Well, you got to find that positive. When, you know, last guest Ted Nugent, when they were denied access to New York, and we had this discussion earlier, Josh and I, he's like, oh, you know, you hop on the negative. Go, what's the positive? You know what the positive is? The positive is that he came onto a show tonight and discussed that. And we're exposing people for the cowards that they are. So there's always something positive.
Yeah.
You have to take it out of it. And this is, like I said, you're a better person. You're a better cop. You appreciate life a little bit more. But it's unfortunate that's what it took. You know.
And the positive always outweighs the negative.
That a boy, Chris.
Outweighs?
Chris just went really deep.
And hamburgers outweigh pizza.
Cassie, I appreciate you calling in and doing it. Like I said,
No, we all do.
It's just keep telling the stories.
Absolutely.
Keep telling the stories.
Yep.
You know, it's.
And we appreciate you guys putting his face up all the time. And you could call hundreds of other cops on the department, and like I said, you could call so many people that could give you. Like I said, I'm just a small piece of the man that he was. So. And that goes for so many police officers that we lose. But for him, he's mine. He's like my little piece. So I appreciate whenever you guys pay respect to specifically him in my own selfish way.
No, that's all right.
Like,
all right.
It's when you see him. So
excellent.
So thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank Chris for going deep.
Oh, thank
Good
you.
job.
No.
Josh,
Oh, Chris went deep.
All right, Cassie. We're gonna let you go. We got that video queued up, right?
I have no. I'm on this side of the.
Oh,
booth.
you're on that side.
I'm on this side of the window.
All right, Cassie, we're gonna hang up on you because we got a video queued up
Hang
that
up on
has to roll. So we're gonna hang up on you. But again, seriously, thank you. Keep talking. Keep telling the stories. Keep it.
stay strong.
Thank you guys so
And
much
it's like
for
6
everything you
o'clock
do.
in California, so you're probably just ready for dinner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to make dinner.
Extra
dinner. Pre-dinner
avocados.
cocktails.
Extra avocados because they're like 50 cents a piece there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
They're like $3 a pop here.
So many avocados.
That's
It's a good problem. It's a good problem to have.
With a coin shortage.
And they're healthy too.
All right.
All right, Cassie. Thank you again.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
All right,
Cassie.
take care, Cassie.
Be safe. Be safe, sister.
All right.
We're gonna run a short film. Are we ready to run that film?
Yep.
So we're gonna run a short film. We're gonna take a quick break. Piss and pizza.
Piss and pizza. This
no.
video entitled "America United." Rather than doing our commercial break, we'll introduce basically our next guest. See, now I'm trying to say pizza. our next guest. Honestly, like I said, everybody gets lost in the world of YouTube once in a while. But if you've never seen this video. This is one of the best motivational speeches ever given. Yeah, you'll see why.
All right.
Stay tuned.
Roll it.
I'm a regular American. Over the course of my 54 years, I've lived the sort of life that many of you have. I've been failed. I've been fallen. I've struggled and overcame and failed again. I've known hunger. I've enjoyed feast. I'm a street cop, an old soldier, a husband, a father, a Christian. I'm Irish and English and German. My story could be the tale of any American, regardless of color or creed, despite our own individual heritage and culture. All of us, every one of us, through our lives and by our family's history, has woven the thread that defines our flag, has dedicated life and limb and treasure to establish the nation we love. All of us, young, old, wealthy, poor, black, white, liberal, conservative, every single one of us, first and foremost, is an American. If you're listening to this message, and if you can agree on a basic premise I've just stated, then please lend me your ear for the next couple of minutes. If you can't even set aside your hate long enough to allow truth to speak to your heart, then by all means step aside, child, and let the adults work. America is a nation built by imperfect men, driven by perfect intent. We've overcome every imaginable horror through our history. Some of it horrors of our own creation. This is the way of a man's life. My own is no exception, nor is yours. And thus, also, is the way of a nation's life. America has never been without fault, nor have we ever claimed such a status. America is, however, the very finest example of free men assembled that the world has ever established. American soldiers have died on every shore to preserve our nation intact. The sun never sets on American dedication to the foundational principle that defines our own Constitution, that all men are created equal. American citizens work tirelessly across the globe to bring relief to the poor, to bring peace to the besieged, to bring stability to the shaken, and to bring freedom to the oppressed. Yet now, our own nation is threatened. America is in grave peril from threat across the seas and also from within. The elected and appointed elitist few who have seized power in Washington have squandered our wealth, mortgaged our children's future, and betrayed our trust. America faces a $20 trillion debt. Even with courageous action now, our so-called leaders in D.C. have mortgaged our future for an entire generation yet unborn. Our once respected and feared status as the world's most powerful nation has been diminished. Our own allies across the globe no longer trust us. Our borders are no longer sovereign. Our cities are on fire. Our police are murdered in the street. Our history is being rewritten. Our veterans return to a nation almost unrecognizable and are forced to battle the oppression of their own government. Our prisons overflow with poor men who long ago paid their debt to society. Meanwhile, our nation is run by thieves in suits, career politicians that no longer represent we, the people. They represent strictly their own agenda, greed, and ravenous hunger for power. I've often said in my career as a cop that a man's character shouldn't be measured by how he falls. It should be measured by how he stands back up. And in many ways, our nation has fallen. Now I ask you to join me. I ask you to take the hand of your brother and sister of every creed as we magnify our strength by the power of our American spirit. I ask you to set aside our differences and stand together as one nation under God, to stand as one people beneath the glory of one flag, to stand as a nation reborn as we face perils both foreign and domestic. Together, we can stand this thing back up. Our finest hour can yet lay ahead. The threats we face are menacing and real. but an American nation standing as one is a force the world's evils cannot defeat, a force that career politicians fear, a force that every peril dreads, that foreign horrors like ISIS tremble before. You are that force. We are that force. America's not done. Real Americans are not defeated. We are strong. We are one. I'm Captain Clay Higgins, a simple man, a humble American man. From bended knee, I thank you for what you are. My brothers and sisters all, joined by the bond of our spirit.
All right, folks, we're back. What you just saw is lifelong law enforcement officer and current sitting congressman from the great state of Louisiana, House of Representative Congressman Clay Higgins. Clay, you with us?
Yes, I am, gentlemen, and thank you for having me. God bless you.
God bless you, my
How you
friend.
doing?
I gotta thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight. I know you're really busy. I read some articles here that you're sleeping on an air mattress and working out in the shower in the gym there so you're on time every day for work and trying to clean that mess up down there that we call DC. So it's much appreciated for the time you've taken out for us.
Oh, yes, sir. It's my great honor to speak with American patriots, through the opportunities that the Lord puts in my path. And
so in the studio tonight, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I just want to let you know who you're speaking to. I'm Tom Werther, retired NYPD. With us also is Chris the intern, who is learning radio magic and podcast magic, and Josh and Johnny Blue, active law enforcement in New Jersey. So you are certainly in a room full of friends and supporters. That's for sure.
Thin blue line forever, brother.
God bless you, man.
Yeah.
I see your law enforcement background here, military police corps in Louisiana National Guard, the Opelousas?
I was a civilian police officer in St. Landry Parish. In Louisiana, we have parishes as the equivalent of counties everywhere else in the nation. So my civilian career was in St. Landry Parish, and the capital of St. Landry Parish is Opelousas, the city of Opelousas.
Awesome. Is that Port Bar, or is that how you say Bar? B-A-R-E, Bar?
Port Barry is another city in St. Landry Parish. So the totality of my civilian police career was within St. Landry Parish. I worked for 2 city police departments and the parish. So,
well, thank you for your lifetime of public service
in a rural area.
It's been a long, and it continues on.
Yeah.
Right. Your public service continues on.
I loved what he said on Saturday when I talked to him. He was something that he said actually becoming a congressman was a demotion for him from captain in law enforcement. That stuck with me. That's why I'll still refer to him as captain. That's
true. It was a hell of a demotion from captain to congressman. I used to have a happy life, man. Half the country didn't hate me. I was home with my beautiful wife and my kids, my dogs, my Harley Davidson. It was a blessed life. But God decided I needed to be punished. Mm-hmm. So he sent me to Congress.
So you think only half the country hates you, huh? You're being optimistic, that's good.
Well, hey, I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be optimistic.
And God picked one heck of a punishment.
The old soldier that said, "Men, the enemy is to our north, is to our south, is to our east and our west. Our enemy cannot escape us now."
That is true.
I tell you, I can't. We joke about the demotion to congressman. I mean, being on the receiving end of a Democrat-controlled Congress, can't be an easy task. So I applaud you for that. When you got in, it wasn't. I mean, the Republicans had the House in 17. So unfortunately for you, you actually have a taste of what a true bipartisan House of Representatives is supposed to do, and that's just obviously not the case now. And we will never get into that to put you in a position to say anything negative or about across the aisle. You're in a very difficult position to have that conversation. I would never put you in that hot spot. But from the layman, on the outside looking in, I just can't imagine. To watch the recent hearings with AG Barr and just sit there and just think, wow, like that's just not cool. Like it's not. It's got to be very difficult to go to work every day and pass some of these folks and try to get really good things done and just continue to get kicked in the nuts. Like I can't wrap my head around it, man.
It's a daily challenge to maintain a principled focus and a gentlemanly demeanor in this bizarre realm. And I'm an educated guy, and I've studied the history of our country and our government. I've been fascinated with that reading since I was a child. My father was a Navy pilot in World War II. He was a man amongst men, a very disciplined man, and he had a vast library. I'm the seventh of 8 children, and my dad was worried about me because I was a rascal from youth. And he made a deal with me. If I wanted to eat, I had to read, and I kind of like to eat, So as a kid, I dove into my dad's library, and his library was filled with the classics and also with books from his own studies regarding American history and world history and the birth of our nation, our founding documents. So, my point is that I had a strong established background as a constitutionalist, understanding how government works and was envisioned to work by our founders, and how we were established as a nation. So when I came to Congress, I knew that I had quite a daunting task ahead of me, and part of that would be trying to establish relationships with my fellow Americans from across the aisle. And there's no assigned seating in the House of Representatives. But by tradition, as the Speaker faces the House floor, to his left sits the Republican Party, and to his right sits the Democratic Party. In the center are the caucuses and independents and whatever. So I knew I'd sit to the left, and I'm called a backbencher. On the very back bench on the Republican side. But I made it a point every day to enter the floor from the Democrat side of the House chamber and introduce myself to my Democratic colleagues. And in the beginning, in 2017, most of them were quite surprised. They thought I was a Democrat that they hadn't met, and we were friendly, and I was gentlemanly, of course, and ma'am and sir and good lady and good sir, And then they'd say, "Oh, well, why don't you sit with us? And where are you from?" I said, "No, I'm sitting across the aisle." "Oh, you're a Republican."
Spoiler alert.
You try, man, and I've been faithful to my codes and to my core principles, and to a certain extent, I must say that endeavor has been very successful. I have friends across the aisle, and I can tell you that the parties are very different regarding majority rule. When the Republicans when my conference was in the majority, I was never threatened by my party leadership. I was frequently found myself contrary to leadership desires, and they would come to me and say, "Clay, how do we get you to a yes on this vote? What's wrong?" And I would explain, and sometimes there'd be adjustments. They'd change a little language in the bill, and and there'd be some movement, and they'd get me to a yes. You understand?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
But I was never threatened. They respected my decision.
But it wasn't a given.
I was a no on the bill.
It wasn't a given, and it shouldn't be. It should never just be a given just because the party affiliation that you have to vote the way that you vote with your heart. You vote what you think is right, and that's the way it should be. And
Right, but it's different between the two parties. It
Yeah.
was, to my horror, having cultivated friendships across the aisle from day one, I learned that in private, my Democratic friends told me that they are threatened. Like if they're opposed to leadership across the aisle, if it's a big vote for the Democratic Party, they'll go to that Democratic member, who's a free American representing a district, and they'll tell them you're either going to get in line with the party here, or we're going to primary you, what they call primary you. They'll dump money. They'll go and find a candidate to run against that American in their primary.
Wow.
And that candidate will know the reason that they're getting a bunch of money dumped on them to try and unseat this other guy, this other congresswoman, is because that one didn't align himself with the party. So that happens across the aisle. I know for a fact
so Joe Manchin has no friends. Because he's all over, man.
Congressman, what's the current climate right now in Congress at this moment?
Well, right now, Madam Speaker Pelosi, she got some, I don't know, man. She got some new thistles on her broom or something.
Listen, God bless you for saying. God,
Shots fired, Central.
Oh, God bless you for saying that.
Listen, it is what it is. There's no secrets here. There's no secrets here.
Aggressively pushing beyond the limits of her authority as Speaker, in my opinion, to I believe her agenda is to drive as many congressional members out of personal service. See, they passed this rule called proxy voting.
Yeah,
where
10 people, right? 10 people could vote for, one person could vote on behalf of 10.
Yeah, that's right. Basically, you don't have to be here. She shut down all the buildings. She shut down all the services. Nothing is operating in the office buildings, the Capitol.
What?
Incredible restrictions, and she's trying to drive as many people as she can, as many members as she can, into proxy voting. Now, I'm completely against it. I will not participate in unconstitutional proxy voting. In fact, I'm one of the original plaintiffs in the lawsuit against Madam Speaker Pelosi that was filed in federal court, D.C. federal court, early this month, about a month ago, and her proxy voting, I believe, will ultimately be overturned by the Supreme Court. Now, this is a rule, not a law. This is not something that had to be passed by the House and then sent to the Senate and then signed by the President. This was a rule of conduct within the House. So the majority party, that means Nancy Pelosi, has the authority to pass this stuff. So they did by party line vote. Proxy voting is a reality. It's completely unconstitutional. There's 435 congressional districts across the country, and none of us, there's not one American ever voted for a digital representation of a human being. We voted for that actual human being, Democrat or Republican or Independent or anything else.
To stand there.
When we cast our vote, we're voting for a human being to come and represent us as the founders intended. And it's so incredibly important for America to get it, how damaging this proxy voting is to Congress.
How damaging?
The means by which we communicate.
How damaging so much of what they're doing is doing. And it's funny. One of the things that you say a lot that sticks with me is that America was founded by imperfect men with perfect intent. I was talking to Andrew earlier today, and I had told him, I said, that's a deeply powerful line, because when you admit your flaws, when you admit fault, admit that you're imperfect, you take that power away from your adversaries. You said now they can't use that against you. Because now beat me on merit. We can all talk about our flaws all day long. Now beat this argument on merit. Now I'm just curious though, looking across the aisle, do you still think that it's they have perfect intent, or has that view changed?
Their party agenda is to destroy America from within, the America as we know it. They absolutely want an ever larger government control and ever decreasing level of personal freedoms and an ever increasing seizure of treasure, seizure of property. I don't even call taxation anymore. I call it seizure of property. Our money is our property.
Yeah.
And I have to remind my colleagues all the time up here for pushing 4 years now. And I'm about to be reelected, and I'll serve in additional terms, I guess, because it's kind of like purgatory on earth. But the point is, I tell my colleagues up there all the time that taxing is not tithing. It's not voluntary about taxing. There's not an American anywhere that gets their paycheck, after a pay period, and goes to their boss and says, "Yeah, man, why don't you take about 25% of my check and send it to Washington D.C. so they can do ridiculous shit with it,
and not account for it."
Yeah.
And
let's do ridiculous shit and not account for it.
And you know what they say? A house divided
it's
cannot
amazing.
stand.
So the seizure of our property ever increasing, the decrease continually of our individual personal freedoms and constitutional protections, the destruction of our history, the growth of the beyond this leviathan that it is right now. What the Democratic agenda is, the Socialist Democratic Party, their agenda is to walk our country towards socialism, and they're doing so quite successfully.
And we can read about that, and you can actually tell us those stories. But you actually experienced this very thing we're speaking about this weekend with Ted earlier. We had this conversation. You were a victim. You were a victim of this very thing that we speak of, and all we can do is expose it. Like, there's lots to be left to interpretation, where someone can say, well, we did it for this reason, we did it for that reason. There's no interpretation here.
No.
You guys were targeted for coming here to support law enforcement. The Democrats, the Democratic Nassau County Executive Curran, she didn't get the result that she wanted by slandering and making up lies about Ted and what you guys are coming here for. So she had to go to, again, this isn't a political show per se, but when the politicians do things that directly affect the law enforcement community, we have no choice but to make it that for what we're speaking about. And you guys were attacked. I mean, was anyone else? Were there health officials at JFK that day or the day before, the day after, to stop everyone that actually stepped off a plane and said, "Where you coming from? Go self-quarantine"? Like, no, you guys were targeted to stop your support. And you're a lifelong police officer. Like that, as Ted being a supporter is one thing, and he's been involved in law enforcement. You were a cop. It had to have been like the biggest kick in the teeth.
I'm still a cop.
Well, yeah, you work for the AG. Yeah, you're still on the books with the AG. So to be told, no, you can't come in. You can't sit here. Cuomo has this list of people that he considers essential employees or businesses or people, and honestly, it's over 150. So basically, in Cuomo's world, everyone is essential. I'll give you a couple examples. Bicycle repairmen are essential employees. News media, multiple levels of construction workers, tennis players, horseshoe players. Ready? Check this out. Bocce ball. Bocce ball players in the park, they're okay. And a contractor with the U.S. government is allowed to be here. But a sitting, duly elected U.S. congressman was told you cannot come here.
Oh.
For all intents and purposes, you were told not to come here.
They did that. Man, the ironic thing is my brothers and sisters of the Thin Blue Line and Patriots that are listening, please feel my spirit about this. The really horrible thing about the fact that the state of New York used all of its power to stop the First Amendment rights of a conservative congressman, me, and my friend, amazing artist, world-renowned musician Ted Nugent, to stop us from coming to New York City to speak with 10 or 12, 15,000 cops and families. The ironic thing and the very hurtful thing is that we were bringing a beautiful message, man. It was a message of love and respect and humility and brotherhood and compassion and courage and forgiveness and strength and hope. It was a beautiful message.
Congressman.
Someone asked me how long was my speech, and I said it's 1,483 pages long. It's the King James version. I don't know what words from that speech the Lord will put on my heart, but I know what the core message will be. There was not a moment of political division or hatred or vitriol or condemnation for the governor of New York. There was none of that. It was a unifying message. And the bottom line is they couldn't allow that, you see, because the left had description that they're selling to America of what a constitutionalist, conservative, patriot police officer is, and that we're hateful and that we're racist and we're bigoted and we're divisive and we're not loving and we're not compassionate, and that's lie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And by bringing a positive message of love and respect, that goes against the narrative that they're selling. So they couldn't let us into the state, and they did.
Yeah, we read about the deep state, the quote-unquote deep state. And
we
I'm
had
sorry.
to turn around.
And Congressman,
So it's a damn shame, man, that it's come to that in this country, that conservative voices, even again the most loving and compassionate message, that would be stopped strictly because of our ideological beliefs, which we have the right to. You know, listen, I'm the seventh of 8 children, and my family reflects every shade of ideology, and yet we love each other, and we look forward to our gatherings. We have debates and conversations, and yet we look forward to the next gathering. And I believe in my heart that my family, as I've just described it, I believe it's reflective of the American family. And if it's hard to find one American family, if you think about it, that is ready to tear each other apart because of ideological beliefs or political affiliation, if you can't find one family that's not looking forward to the next picnic or barbecue or Thanksgiving or Christmas gathering, despite our ideological or political variances, then how is it that we've been sold this concept that America hates itself? If you can't find one family that reflects that narrative, how is the left getting away with telling American citizens that we are so divided? I just don't believe it, man. So my messages are from my heart, and I was bringing that to New York City. It was a great honor to me. I've turned down many, many invitations through the years of the last 4 years since I've been in Congress in this den of thieves here. I've turned down many invitations to go and speak with large gatherings, but I accepted this one because from bended knee God told me this was something special. It's a special time in America, and this will be a special moment of repair and healing. And ironically, this thing is flipping on New York and on the government that stopped that message from arriving to, a land that was very much part of the fabric of the original, the birth of our nation, again, of a nation born of imperfect men driven by perfect intent. And it was my great honor to have accepted that invitation. And somehow the Lord is going to illuminate a greater reach. I have a gathering in Louisiana on September the 19th that I have. It'll be my 6th redemption ride. I'm a biker, and I do a charity motorcycle ride. I've been doing it since before I was in Congress. I was still a full-time cop, a SWAT cop, and it's to benefit veterans, police officers, and the homeless. It's kind of my thing. So this will be our 6th redemption ride. It's September the 19th, and this year is a redemption ride for the Thin Blue Line. So somehow the Lord in different ways will illuminate how we can take this ugliness that happened this past weekend that was brought upon us by the forces of darkness, and we can bring a greater light to shine upon the America that we love.
Yeah, we told Ted earlier. Again, you guys deserved way better than you got. Especially from the guys that you were coming to stand up for and to represent and to speak to. It was embarrassing to watch. It was embarrassing to see that played out, and scary. Frankly, we were joking earlier. I said, I try not to be a tinfoil hat.
No, he doesn't.
I try not to, but to sit back and witness firsthand again how all right, it wasn't the most strategic thing on the planet, but to see how fast they mobilized, to push their desire, to push their agenda, to see how fast and how far, like they had from the time that the county executive put her tweet out and expressed her displeasure, they collectively decided that you guys were not coming, and they were going to figure out how to make that happen, all the way up to involving the governor's office. It was scary to watch. And
there was nothing negative about the message. It was a fully positive, I can't wrap my head around the fact that why wouldn't you want law-abiding citizens to gather and support law enforcement? Like, what's the negative here? They allow folks to get together and burn buildings down and paint streets and in Aurora, Colorado, chain up police precincts doors. But this was just nothing but a positive, like, kumbaya, my friend. Like, we're gonna talk. There was gonna be no violence at this. There was not gonna be no burning done. There was nothing. This was just a bunch of citizens getting together, saying, "Hey, man, we get it."
Congressman, I have a question right here. Based on what happened last week, the governor of New York literally blocking you from coming in, do you think if Nancy Pelosi or Barack Obama would have come to New York for a rally of Joe Biden, do you think they would have asked? I mean, in other words, they would have done what they've done to you?
Would they have asked them to quarantine?
Yeah.
No.
That's my question to you.
No.
No, there's no way. Listen, man, it's these politicians. I tell you, it's hard to deal with them. In the Army, it was pretty easy. You identify the bad guy and shoot him.
All right, I'm going to use that line. Can I have permission to use that line?
And as a cop,
I think we should do that.
That guy, you harvest evidence. You put together your case file. You write your probable cause. You put it in front of a judge. you get your warrant signed and you go arrest them.
That's it.
And
So,
also,
but in this building, and you got to identify the bad guy. You got to ride on the elevator with him. So I was not surprised. And I have to say, my faith in human nature is greater than the suffering I have been through that's been caused by the darkness of human nature. I have more faith in our light than I do in our darkness.
Yes,
if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So I was hurt. It hurt my heart what happened last weekend because I knew that would not have happened. Man, it did it. The governor and the county commissioner, whoever the hell she is, if you're listening, why don't you get another job, one that doesn't start with an oath.
Yeah. If it makes you feel any better,
like the airport with a red carpet. But no, you got to stop conservatives. This is where we've come to, where our Constitution, which was you talk about words of humility. Our founding documents begin with language says, in order to form a more perfect union. Now think about the humility of our founders right there. This is an automatic, immediate recognition that we are imperfect. This is where my statement comes from, straight from the Constitution. In order to form a more perfect union. This was a children of God admitting that we are imperfect. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. This is I tell people all the time that redemption is not a destination, it's a journey. We're all on that journey, and our nation is on that journey. So
right.
I don't have any problem with people having a variant opinion from mine. It would be a very boring world if we all agreed. That's not what the Lord intended for his children. I understand that they have different political affiliations and perspectives and things, and I accept that. I'm willing to have that conversation. But what's happening in America right now is that the leftists, the socialists, which have taken over the Democratic Party, they don't want to have that conversation. They just want to have power.
Right.
They just want to rule. They want more of your money. They want you to have less personal freedoms, and they want to grow government far beyond where it is right now. And we're heading down a wrong path as a nation if we don't turn this thing around in November.
Hold on, Christian. You made an interesting point earlier, Congressman, where you said that it's not like being a police officer where you identified the subject, you went to the judge, you got the warrant, you effected the arrest, everything was fine. But unfortunately, that's not the case anymore either. Recently in New York City, the warrant squad, which is where I retired out of, I worked in the Bronx warrants in the NYPD, had a lot of really great experiences there. The warrant squad had identified someone that had damaged police department property. So they put their case together. Actually, it wasn't even the warrant squad, because the warrant squad does not put cases against people that are wanted. The detectives that work in the PDUs, the precinct detective units. So those squad guys put together a case. They identified the subject that was wanted for damaging police department property. These warrants guys were handed the papers. It basically said, you get cases every day. Here you go get her. She was at a protest. They were there. They pulled up in a minivan because that's how we work. Unmarked vans in jeans and T-shirts. They jumped out. They identified her. They arrested her. They threw her in the van. They took her off. And then now they're getting lambasted by the mayor and by the governor saying, the mayor said, that probably wasn't the most sensitive way to handle it. Well, no, hold on, check it out. I don't know where she lives, but we know she's here right now. She damaged police department property, city property, and she should be arrested and charged for that.
Getting arrested. I saw that picture, which you know what they're saying about that terrible look of fear in her eyes. That's somebody that got caught.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
But because there's a old saying in boxing. I'm an old boxer. Everybody got a plan until you get hit in the mouth.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And that lady got picked up. they're talking about unmarked vehicles. My God, man, police officers been driving unmarked vehicles for a long time or rental cars.
You don't walk
If you
down the
go out
street
and-
saying, "Hey, who's Mary Jones? Where's Mary Jones? We're here to arrest you." No, you wait for Mary Jones to walk up on the corner, and when she's not looking, you jump up behind you, grab her.
Unidentified police officers. Man, the detectives been wearing. I tell you, and listen, these youngsters today in America, yeah, I don't know how they're gonna make it, bro.
It's
I'm telling you.
it's horrendous.
You got,
I blame the
you
parents.
got a lot of youngsters in America that. If
I assume
if it came under like military attack, there would be no room under any desk anywhere in the country.
Well, I assume that the mayor of Portland is giving quote unquote orders for DHS or federal agents to leave Portland. I never thought.
No, not even orders. He said he's going to fine the federal government $200 for every 15 minutes.
I think
that
it's
the fences.
$2,000 an hour.
Was it 2,000?
Yeah.
There was $200 for every 15 minutes.
$500 15 minutes, yeah.
So basically, for every 15 minutes that the fence remains around the federal building. Look, here's the deal: if the mayor can't protect the citizens, then it's on the governor. If the governor can't protect the citizens, it's on the federal government.
No,
that's just the way it goes.
It's not if they can't. They don't want to.
They can't. They fine. Choosing not to, can't. Whatever
Like,
word you want to use.
But the thing is, I never thought that I will see mayors saying that. Why are we seeing these kind of people telling the Fed to back off because they don't want to protect property?
Why? You know why?
It's like, what country am I living in, honestly?
That's a good question.
What country am I living in? Because you don't see that in Japan. You don't see that in other countries. You don't.
Because we give
But why
everything.
here?
Because we give everything away to everyone that asks. That's why. You
No,
work
I
for
don't-
it, you earn it, you got it.
I don't
Otherwise,
think so, man.
no.
The congressman,
These areas,
since
areas
the
that
weekend. Go ahead. You got it.
these areas that have come under this incredible riot and burning and organized. These are terrorists, man. These are terrorists. And let me tell you this: I have proof right here, about 5 feet from me in my desk. I'm still in my office. I don't stop working. I have proof right here that you have young Americans that are part of Antifa. They're pledged to Antifa. They're living on mom and daddy's nickel. They're young 20-something idiots. They're traveling on tourist visas overseas. Mom and daddy think they're going to France or Spain or wherever. They're going to Syria to train with Marxist forces over there. And they're going to get military training. And they're actually doing some fighting. And then they're coming back. And so these attacks, if America thinks that these Antifa, asshats are young, confused Americans, you're wrong.
They're being trained out of country. They're being trained out of country. Yep. I saw your video today.
It's all in Democrat-controlled cities. I'm sorry to my Democrat
I can't believe that.
Well, listen.
I tell you what, I would fix Portland, the whole area, in 48 hours with 1,000 dedicated cops. We would be what we call 10-8 until. In 48 hours, they'd have the whole thing cleaned up.
I agree.
There'd be some arrests.
I agree.
We'd fill a stadium with arrests.
Cap, you can stand down. Naylor assured all of us that Antifa is just a myth.
It's a myth.
I mean, everybody can just stand down. We're all good here.
How delusional can he be? Honestly,
We're making it up.
Capability.
I don't understand these people. Honestly, man, I just don't.
It's crazy.
I don't. Like, I didn't know that Antifa was receiving training from Syria or something like that.
No, you just
go.
Yes, you have Americans that are part of Antifa training with Marxist military forces.
Why are we not having FBI agents arresting them at the airport? Why we're not doing that? I don't.
It's not that easy, Christian.
I'm not at liberty to say.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that easy.
Maybe I should run for president, man. I should run for president.
Yes,
I really should.
Christian 2024.
Christian, no, you should not.
No, executive order. My first day in office is send FBI agent to arrest everyone who goes to outside the country and receives terrorist training.
Look, I'm talking to a bunch of cops right now. So you know how the community's always surprised when all of a sudden we have a roundup one night. He's starting about 1:00 in the morning, and we execute like like 40 or 50 warrants, right? And then the community says, "Wow, man, how you made all those arrests?" Well, man, it's been like a 1.5 year investigation, right? Then all of a sudden we make the arrest, correct?
Correct.
And the community doesn't get it. That, man, we've been working on these case files and building these warrants. You got multiple warrants frequently on each subject, on each suspect, and so the same thing happens just on a bigger scale when you're dealing with something like this internationally, and with federal with stuff like this.
It takes a long time to build that
I'm
case.
not at liberty to say why these kids are not being met at the airport, but if any of them are listening.
Oh, you're going back to your crime. You're going back to your Crime Stopper videos. Go ahead, Cap. Let it loose, Cap. You're going back to the Crime Stopper videos. Go ahead.
If any of you are listening,
there it goes.
You young Antifa Americans, and you think you're getting away with it, just go on and keep believing that. Okay. But we're coming. We're watching. We're coming. And we're not going to allow you to destroy America from within.
But the best.
A bunch of old guys that if we have to come out of retirement,
don't threaten me. Don't threaten me with a good time. Oh man, the worst is that when they put those cases together, like we were talking about a few minutes ago, they put that case together. They've got all these folks they want to hit. You don't hit them at 2:00 in the afternoon when you don't know where they are. You hit them at 3:30 in the morning when you know they're home in bed. And then they get bad bath from that. So why did you disrupt this whole family at 4:00 in the morning to get little Joey? Well, because we know where little Joey is at 4 a.m. and that's when we come get you. We're not the ice cream guy. We're not your teacher. We're not your friends. We want to get you. We want to put you in handcuffs, and we do that when we know where you are when you are.
Like, listen, let me say that's the path to potential redemption for every person. Jail is such can be such a clarifying force in a man's life that I would tell these fugitives all the time that you think you're avoiding jail. You're living in a prison of your own creation. Running from shadow to shadow at night. That's no way to live. The only path to freedom, real freedom, spiritual freedom, is through jail. You got to come and accept responsibility for your actions. Take your lick. Read the word. Discipline yourself. Get off of the drugs. There's no better rehab than a real good, compassionate, disciplined, safe jail. For some of these guys,
it's the safest place to be.
Never had a more peaceful night's sleep. And of course, I support prison reform and prisoners' rights because I'm a compassionate man. But I'm telling you, a good jail can be a very, very rehabilitative
absolutely
period of time in a young American's life that they grew up. They hadn't had many choices in life. Sometimes they've grown up in a criminal environment. It's all they know.
Yeah,
and maybe the first time they ever get treated as a real human being and asked to take a deep look in the mirror at where do you intend to go with your life, regardless of what you were born unto. What do you intend to do with it in the future? Sometimes the first time a young American will get a look at that is in jail. So to me, making arrests there was always that element, if you feel me, of potential redemption, just as I see that in the eyes of God. I'm certainly a failed and fallen man. I'm so blessed to be redeemed by the blood of Christ. But I'm on my own journey of redemption. And every young criminal out there that's running from shadow to shadow, that's not a life, man. Frequently, their path to freedom begins in jail.
Well,
so the kind of work that cops do.
That's if they want redemption. If they want that, they need to want that. It's like taking an alcoholic and saying, "Hey, we're going to put you in a program." If they don't want that, then it's seen as a punishment. But if you could take an alcoholic or anyone with any sort of addiction or problem and put them someplace where you can rehabilitate them and they want the help, they'll come out a better person. They'll come out hopefully with a better view on life, and they're going to want to be.
much.
But to
That-
like you said,
no,
running and running and running and running and running and blaming everyone, blame, that's not going to change anything.
Well, I mean, going back to what the congressman just said about Antifa building up a case and everything.
Chris is stuck on it. He
No,
really
no.
wants people at the airport. Go ahead,
No,
Chris.
but listen, these people appear on Twitter. I have a Twitter account. I'm on Twitter most of the time. Don't we have the manpower, the technology, the quote unquote big brother? Like your face is on the database,
Chris,
registered.
Read between the lines what the congressman is
There's
saying.
laws. There's
Yeah,
people that don't want
besides
that to happen.
Just because it's not happening right now doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
No, just
These-
because
these
you don't
anti-
know it's happening doesn't mean
Yeah,
it's not
but
happening.
we have the
These-
technology.
How do you, but we don't. What the congressman was saying is that there's things that we can't speak about.
Right.
There are things going
Yeah,
on,
let-
and it's
we're using all the technologies that are at our avail, and that includes social media access that does not require a warrant, but that helps us to build case files against Americans that have gone astray, young Americans that have traveled abroad and essentially lied to their families, lied to the State Department, traveling abroad under the guise of one purpose in order to accomplish another. And that other purpose being, in the cases I'm referring to, is to go and train with military forces
It's unbelievable.
and bring some skills back. Because those same young Americans, they wouldn't make it. I'm an Army veteran. None of them would make it 2 weeks to boot camp.
No.
The only way
No.
to get any kind of military training
What?
is to go over. Mom and Daddy think they're going to Europe for a month, but really, they're taking the underground traffic into Syria and training with military. That's it. So they're coming back.
It's
But you
unbelievable.
can pick up some skills that they would not have as far as organizing attacks against a specific point. Look what they're doing, trying to take over this courthouse. Every night they got a new tactic. They're using leaf blowers to blow back clear out and CS. They're using umbrellas. They purchase massive quantities of commercial grade fireworks. They're using lasers to get into the eyes of the officers. They're using frozen water.
Dude, the lasers. Honestly, the lasers. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the frozen water and the tennis balls and all that stuff is one thing. They're using the green lasers that you can use to actually cut paper and plastic and cardboard, and they're putting it into the eyes of all like that. If that's like stabbing you.
God, yo.
Hey,
I'm not.
tell you,
I can't even wrap my head around that one.
I'm surprised that they're not using AK-47s or any kind of weapons, lethal weapons.
Man, that calls for lethal force. How you gonna give up a whole, unit or a whole precinct? I mean, if the Supreme Court said long ago that if we're in a fight and the person we're trying to effect arrest with is trying to get our weapon, that's grounds for lethal force.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Because that's the way it works. If we get shot, the odds are we're going to get shot with our own weapon. So how are you going to give up a whole police car that's loaded with weapons or a whole precinct? That calls for lethal force. You understand?
Yeah.
Of course. Atlanta, when they took the guy's taser, right? Took the officer's taser, took off, turned around, and shot at him. Like, so if he hits me with that taser and I'm incapacitated, my gun is there. Like, you have to take lethal force. Like, it's this bizarre world. They just think that everyone needs a hug. Everyone needs a hug.
I'm not necessarily. I'm not sure I'd have taken that shot, but I'm a certified taser instructor. I was. I've been tased many times. I can kind of walk through it now, but the point is that these protesters are organized in their attacks. They're not random. With everything I just described regarding their use of improvised weaponry and tactical approach and attack, These are military tactics. They didn't read that on the back of some yogurt or some avocado toast packages.
Right.
They're learning these skills, and they're deploying those skills against law enforcement. In the meantime, law enforcement has to deal with attack from the citizenry that we serve and the government entities that we work for, because it's popular to hate the police right now.
Yep.
So, man, we have to stand strong. We have to stand shoulder to shoulder, and just please know that my office is an extension of our oath. Our oath as cops to serve and protect is to our Constitution, and it's to every citizen, regardless of color or creed or culture or heritage, or where you are in the economic strata, or your political affiliation, or your ideology. That doesn't matter to us. Our oath is to the Constitution that serves us all.
God bless you.
My office is an extension of that to you all. And on that note, I'm going to have to tell you good night.
Yeah.
One last thing, though, before you go. You're running for re-election, obviously. You feel confident that you've got this?
Well, I'm on the brightly illuminated path that the Lord has prepared.
That's a good path to be on. Do you have a website or a fundraising site for your campaign?
I can be found at clayhiggins.house, congressmanhiggins.house.gov, or at captainhigginsforcongress.com. And I'm readily available. If you Google Captain Clay Higgins, you got some entertaining pages.
Oh no, we've watched.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We've watched.
So I can be easily found, and I do appreciate support. But my biggest support is by love and prayer.
God bless.
And so I do ask for that because I need it. I'm in a.
You're in a den right there. That's for damn sure. You are in a den.
Well, you got the support here. You got the support of our people that watch and follow, and obviously my company will promote that. Lions Eater Cigars will promote that. BBO will certainly promote that. Blue Magazine will promote that.
He knows Dave's got it.
I'm gonna send you guys some confirmation of my big charity redemption ride for the Thin Blue Line.
Awesome.
That'll be down in Louisiana.
Awesome.
September the 19th. It's a big, beautiful event, and it's for grown-ups and families and patriots all. And
awesome.
And I invite anybody to participate in any way with that. But
awesome.
It's all for charity. And so God bless you.
No, God bless Cap, and I'll thank you the same way I thank Ted.
Thank you.
You guys don't have to lend your voice. You didn't have to try to come up here last weekend. You don't have to be doing those things. So for guys still wearing a shield, for guys still active in the middle of this, that needed that boost, that needed that lift. We thank you for doing what you're doing. Again, it's recognized that you don't have to be doing that, and you are putting your neck out there still. And honestly, we love you for it. I mean, please keep doing it. Don't be discouraged by what you saw. What you saw from the politicians is not representative of the rank and file. I know you know that.
Man. All my love for my brothers and sisters.
Appreciate it.
That wear a badge in the state of New York. I'm closer to you, and more one of you now that I've suffered the wrath of some of your liberal.
Yep.
Well, welcome to our world.
There it is.
Well,
yeah, they can't defeat us, man. Remember what I said. Enemies to the north and to the south, to the east and to the west. They cannot escape us now.
Outstanding. Congressman,
Thank
get
you.
some sleep.
God
and
bless
thank
you.
you for
Thank you
calling
so
in.
much.
Thanks for calling in. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
All right, guys. God bless, and until we speak again. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Same
Absolutely.
to you. Thank you.
All right, commercial
commercial.
break. Pizza.
Back in two. We'll wrap it up. We'll take a 2 and 2 That was Chuck Wooler, right? We're back in 2-2.
2 and
We do 4 though.
2
He used to do. He used to
five
do this. You got. We're back in 2 and 2. It was 2
Chris
minutes
can't
and
count
2
anyway, and I
seconds.
scored 8 9 SATs.
890s.
There it is.
Oh, is it 4 minutes? Well,
Piss and Pizza. We're back in about 4 minutes,
There
and
it
we'll
is.
wrap it up.
All right, we'll be right back.
If you are searching for a doctor that truly cares about your overall health and well-being, contact Dr. Alex at Tri-State Health and Wellness. For more than 11 years, Dr. Alex has been treating law enforcement professionals and their families while focusing on one-on-one care so you never feel rushed. All necessary testing can be conducted during your visit, and they feature flexible hours and appointments to accommodate alternating work schedules. Tri-State Health and Wellness is conveniently located in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Contact Dr. Alex today by visiting www.bluetristate.com. Mortgages for everyday heroes. From Michelle Hendershot and Homebridge Financial Services. If you're looking to purchase a home or refinance an existing mortgage, Michelle Hendershot can assist you every step of the way. With over 10 years of experience assisting law enforcement officers with their dream of owning a home, the choice is simple. Contact Michelle Hendershot today. Visit www.mortgagesforblue.com. Are you tired of sleeping alone each night? Feeling sluggish during the day? Is your snoring keeping your spouse awake at night? If you find yourself spending too much time on the couch, maybe it's time to visit Dr. Michael Doblin of At Home Sleep Solutions. Dr. Doblin is the preferred sleep apnea doctor of New Jersey's law enforcement officers. With the help of a custom-fitted oral device, you can finally say goodbye to noisy, antiquated sleep apnea machines. For more information and to schedule an appointment today, contact Dr. Michael Doblin. Visit www.bluesnore.com. If chronic pain is preventing you from leading a full and active lifestyle, then it's time to visit Oasis Spine and Orthopedic Specialists. As a Blue-friendly service provider, Oasis understands that each person's situation is unique and that each person's healing plan needs to be customized for individual injuries and conditions. Featuring board-certified and fellowship-trained physicians, Oasis Spine and Orthopedic Specialists will have you back on your feet and back in the game. Schedule your appointment today by visiting www.blueorthopedic.com. Moment of Silence, Inc., along with Blue Suicide, is a nonprofit organization founded to support and raise awareness about the epidemic of suicides amongst law enforcement, military personnel, and first responders. For more information on how you can help, visit momentofsilenceinc.org. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or a certified used vehicle, then visit Fetty Auto Group, located at the junction of Route 46 and Route 3 in Clifton, New Jersey. Fetty Auto Group stands shoulder to shoulder with the men and women in blue. Stop by and ask for Troy Mall and ask about the offers for first responders. For more information, visit FettyAuto.com. That's FettyAuto.com. The Blue Magazine, the law enforcement publication by law enforcement professionals for the men and women of law enforcement. The unfiltered voice of law enforcement. TheBlueMagazine.com. Are you patrolling with the pig? If not, you're doing it wrong. Check out all the newest swine swag at ProudPig.blue. They are dirty by design. Check it out now. Visit www.proudpig.blue for all your swine swag. Visit www.proudpig.blue. Line of Duty Cigars, owned and operated by retired NYPD Detective Tom Werther. Visit lineofdutycigars.com for our handmade Nicaraguan cigars, custom ashtrays, custom humidors, and custom flask sets. Also, when you place an order, you choose the law enforcement, first responder, or veteran charity, and Line of Duty Cigars donates 10% to that organization. Planning a special event? Contact us today. Visit www.lineofdutycigars.com. And now, back to the program. DDVRadio.com.
We're back.
Maybe not. Maybe we're not back. Are we back? We're back? No.
Yeah, we are back.
I don't think we're back. Guess who's back? Back again.
So
Johnny Blue's back.
So Patriot, yeah, welcome back, Johnny.
Tell
guys.
a friend.
Long time no see,
Good
right?
to be back.
We won't even get into that shit. We did a little wellness check earlier. What's going on with the fam? We any closer to solving this kidney issue? Or,
No, now it's just waiting on a transplant.
Yeah, same.
it.
Like just on the list and waiting.
That's it. 5 to 7 years.
That's how long it is.
That's for a deceased donor. So if anybody's a match,
Oh, so you have a lot. If you have a live
if
donor,
you have a living donor, you could do it whenever, as long as you have a match. But the
so
deceased
can we set up? I mean, it's all blood work for the first part, right? It's all
Yeah.
about blood work and seeing what matches.
Yeah.
Can we set something up? Is there some sort of like? No, I know there is.
Until she starts pulling her weight.
Oh, Jesus.
No, we could set something
When
up.
she stops making sandwiches,
Oh
then
my God.
I'll work on it. But no, we have the audience, we have the people. They'll be like, oh, is anyone interested? Come down and we'll spread the word, blood test, and let's figure out if we can get someone wants to get you sandwiches for the next 30 years
That'll be awesome.
or 40. I don't know.
If you need a kidney, Christian's got 2.
Nah, no, thank you.
There it is.
That's fucked up, bro.
No, we weren't going to give you another one, Christian. We were going to take one.
That's
Listen, or you can wake up in a hotel in Mexico
Wait a
in a
minute.
bed
There it
full
is.
of ice.
There's his kidney right there.
Wait a minute.
growing
Wait,
on his
that's
chin.
fucked up. If his wife needed a kidney and you had one that was a match,
A
you wouldn't
perfect
donate?
match.
Wow.
I don't know, man.
You're sitting on the same side of the table as him, so
Can I live with one kidney though? That's a
Yes,
question.
of course you can. Will she make me lots of pizza?
You're,
If she
living
makes
on,
me
you're
pizza-
living on half a brain. I mean, really.
Oh, you give way too much credit.
How about you live and have a brain? You shouldn't be talking for.
Oh,
What?
Jesus.
Actually,
You got.
Take
it's
it.
a radio show. You're supposed to talk. It's the whole point of why we're here.
Your conscience.
What a power-packed show tonight. Ted, the congressman, just eye-opening.
You want to talk to Dave? Dave's here.
Dave.
Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I'm here. I'm always
Oh, there he is, Dave Chianese.
Dave Chianese. Dave, what's going
I'm
on,
just-
brother? How are you?
Advocacy
sitting in
for
the
law
shadows
enforcement.
like a goddamn stalker. How's everyone doing?
But just watching and listening, like this is, I know you facilitated most of this, so we
God
appreciate the connections and the voices that needed to be
yeah,
heard that
anytime.
should have been heard on Saturday weren't. And, hopefully we gave them a platform and hopefully we get the listeners to understand what the hell is going on, man. This is fucking
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but you know what? It was mentioned a couple of times. Well, at least I think I heard it a couple of times, but it could have been the drinking too.
We're not doing any
there's
of
no
that.
accountability for what happened, and I got to disagree with you there. I think there's a lot of accountability. I think we got to first throw it at again. I mean, it might just be my typical way of being an ass, but I think we got to throw accountability at the organization that turned their back on them.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was hard to watch, and it wasn't.
It was.
You know what I mean? Listen, I understand that every organization, from wherever they stand.
I got to disagree. We're supposed to be brothers
listen,
with a thin blue line.
I
We stand up for each other.
I agree. My over the top hurt though came in the lie. When the statements started coming out from everybody that was turning their backs.
Well, let's be honest. LEOweekend.com are the assholes who threw them under the bus, made up a fucking excuse to try to cover themselves, and fucking cowards to both the police commissioner, the county executive, and everyone else involved. And the unions fell in line too. And Commissioner Ryder, the Nassau County Police Commissioner, was 100% on board because I got emails sitting in my email box about how happy he was to work with LEO Weekend and was the first one to turn around to the governor's office and go, no, they got one for a permit and they got denied. They never even applied for a fucking permit.
Well, here's the thing.
The whole thing is a lie.
Out of the gate, and I've had this discussion at ad nauseum with Josh and with other cops that reached out to me and said, "Hey, this is bullshit. How come these guys backed out? It would have been a bigger event had they showed up and with the threat of arrest. And why would you shut this down with thousands of people?" So out of the gate, a lot of guys were saying exactly what you're saying. But then it was made clear to me by Josh and by other people I spoke to is that no, you're not going to tell us you shouldn't dictate to us how we're going to run our event when you don't dictate it to anyone else. Correct. So we're going to do this, and I totally get that. And Josh knows I'm a big devil advocate. I listen to both sides.
Yeah, Dave. Tom wants to release inmates. He's a big fan of that. He
only,
thinks it's a great.
only the kid. Only the kid touches in Jersey. Only the kid touches in Jersey. So I totally get that point. And for someone that has worked a very long part of my life since I was 14 years old, fundraising and raising awareness and being part of events for local fire departments and police departments. When you put that kind of effort and energy into something, and you're like, "Oh, this happened," like, do I just abandon all of it? So out of the gate initially, I was thinking that way, but then it was made clear to me that no, you can't bend the knee. Correct. You can't bend the knee to these people that are going to dictate to you how to run your party. It's like renting a hall, and they say, "Oh, you can't do this at your." I'm renting this hall; it's mine. I can do my party whatever the fuck way I want.
And sitting at that table, that was what was so impressive about Dave, is because Dave had 2 feet in the water, not only on behalf of the LEO weekend, which he was on the board of, but the advocacy for law enforcement, which he runs. So he had 2 feet in the water, and everybody's sitting there saying, "All right, well, now that we know this is the reality, these guys are not being allowed into New York. These are our guys. What do we do?" He never hesitated. We all actually had nobody at the table hesitate. It's like, no, well, we can't go.
No,
we can't. We can't. We
it's
can't
the right
go.
thing to do.
You know,
Dude, it's like hearing a 10-13 getting screamed over the radio. It's like an officer screaming, "I'm shot." Like that other officer just said, "Tell my family I love them," and then someone in your fucking unit turns around and puts over Central Show me with an unavoidable car stop. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yep.
That's exactly what this was. This guy did an unavoidable car stop, this 5-year rookie in the NYPD, and granted, he does good work. He brings over the families of cops that were killed in the line of duty at Lake George or whatever the fuck they're doing at that time, because they do different things. They're in Long Beach this weekend. But you know what the reality is when they yank your congressman and your highlight
your keynote speakers, and then the other 8 follow suit, that sends a signal. Yeah. So they yanked out our 2 keynote speakers, and not only did they yank out the next 8 or 9 or whatever they had, then they turned around and go, "Oh, we're going to get Pete King to come in." Fuck him.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Well,
so you want to put someone in that now you're going to tell us how to run our party. You're going to tell us
Pete King,
the music that we're supposed to play.
The man behind us.
Was that?
He was pissed that Higgins was coming because Pete King was invited a month ago and ignored the fuck out of it. That scumbag. And he turned around when Higgins got in, he got bent out of shape. And I know for a fact, because again, I got the emails coming from the PC, how he's getting calls from Laura's office and King's office that they need, that this has to be cleared up. They can't come in, and that's why that morning at 7:30 that morning, he went online and was so happy tweeting how he's probably jerking off when he did it. How he's happy to be the keynote speaker.
Dave, you really need to tell us how you feel, Dave. I mean, you really need
It's a children's show. It's a children's show. Right?
I'm trying to keep it back. I'm actually trying to be nice.
I can tell.
I'm just heated because these are good friends of mine, and I love doing this stuff. And I told the guy, I said, at least if you're going to do this, do the right thing.
Yep.
Being that you backed out on them like a piece of garbage, tell King he's not wanted. You don't need him. Just that way you walk away clear.
Or just
then you save a little bit of your soul.
Or just put out the truth. Right. Or just put out the truth. Just say.
Well, the truth was gone. He has no truth, just like he has no penis.
No.
The guy sits in the way he acts.
Well, he could have went up there and said, "This is the deal." No, we were told by the what's her face, Curran, that these and who honestly couldn't get satisfaction, so she went to the next highest level. She went to the governor, and they could have started that rally with that, and that rally would have been a different animal. When you say, "Hey, we would have had another 3,000 people there. We would have had this one, that one, the other 8 keynote speakers," and we were forced, or we told King, the Congressman King, stay the fuck home. Because you weren't part of this. Like if he was running for office again, he's all hoop, yeah, rah, rah, kumbah. But he's not running for office again.
Yeah, of course. Listen, he's always been a rhino. I mean, let's face it. Look at his overall voting record. I mean, he did a couple of good things after 9/11, but overall, he generally doesn't vote for stuff. Even his Homeland Security stuff, a lot of it he doesn't vote for because he's on the fence. He can't vote, or he can't always vote like a Republican. Because he's going to piss off all his friends that are Democrats, and he can't vote like a Democrat.
Well, don't stop being a pussy. Then take a stand.
As a Republican.
Take a stand and vote what your heart says. Vote what you think is right. That's it.
Well,
that's exactly
sometimes
what
it's going to be on
Higgins.
this side. Sometimes it's going to be on that side.
That's exactly what Higgins was talking about. That's exactly what he was saying.
Right. And that's exactly what you get when you deal with people like Higgins, or you deal with people like us, people that actually, again, the perfect example is when there was no hesitation. Kyle, Josh, myself, Rob, everyone that was there was no hesitation. It was a go fuck yourself. We stand with him. We're stepping back, and everyone else on the other side, the PBA delegates on his board, and everybody else looked at us like we got 8 heads. It's an easy fucking call.
Yep. Yeah, you're not going to disrespect our guys. Yep.
I heard that AOC wanted to come and talk. Is that true?
Stop it.
Oh God!
I got a microphone she can
No,
talk
it's not
into.
true. She was going to make drinks at the bar and light thoughts on fire.
It's
nice rack though. She got a nice rack.
It was.
She's not that hot though.
I didn't say she was hot. I said she had a nice rack.
The only thing hot about her is the fact that she's dumber than the pillow you'd like to shove a face into.
Speaking of pillows, Christian.
Now you piqued his interest.
My dog is smarter than that girl. So.
Oh my God! Nah, Dave, it was embarrassing to watch. And again, like I said, when they could have, even if they didn't disinvite King, they could have put out their statements and said, "Hey, listen, this is our county executive's stance. This is her belief. We stand with her, and because we stand with her, we cannot." And there's too much controversy around this, whatever. But for them to take that step and outright lie and say that Ted and Clay pulled from the event, they didn't pull from shit.
They were forced
even if they flew in and decided to step off the plane in defiance of everything, they would have been forced to quarantine. So there was no. Going to the event was never an option for them. Once all that was on, their option was.
You know what? And again, I'm actually gonna correct you on that. There were options. The problem is Ted and Glenn were not looking to be. They were upset, but they weren't looking to be they weren't looking to be me.
They don't want to be. They don't want to be. They don't want to be the test case. They don't want to be the test case because that would have been.
Because I would have turned around and said, "Where's the third bunk for Peter King? Because he's on the flight an hour behind me, and I know he's landing from Washington too. So if you're not quarantining my ass, you're not quarantining his ass. Well, our asses are getting quarantined together, and so is Congressman Zeldin because he was with all of them voting that afternoon.
Oh shit!
On Capitol Hill. So two of them came up and went to the event without being quarantined, and one of them was threatened to be quarantined. Just saying.
You see, I mean, and this is the thing that drives me nuts. They don't even give a shit about hiding anymore. This is what happened to LeBedo. Because Scott LeBedo, American artist, to his credit,
Staten Island.
He also was supposed to be there that afternoon when we told him what happened. He's not coming.
Right.
That's it. And you saw what happened with him this week, right? He got hit with that cease and desist. He's been painting a blue for those.
By the way, don't think somehow that's not involved too.
Of course.
Don't think if this is somehow was a way to say this guy was going to be there and he was going to bring that picture and we got to try to send something out there. It wasn't about that blue line.
Of course. He for those that don't know, Scott's been
smack where they could smack it.
Scott's been painting a blue line down Highland Avenue outside of the precinct there. And he was hit. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
I think
within
yesterday.
2 days ago,
I believe.
With a cease and desist. From New York, and also, what he had to advise them about how he was going to correct the graffiti or and God love him. For those that don't know, again, he's now created his own portrait, incorporating that cease and desist, which he basically said they can shove up their ass, and now he's auctioning it off. So go to his site and
it's
bid
going
on
to
that.
a great cause.
Bid on that. Yeah, he's going to donate that to NYPD. Widow and children.
What a time to be alive, honestly, man.
It's a bizarre time to be alive.
You know what, Christian? Maybe you should go to sleep. Wake up in 2024.
I'd rather be dead, honestly.
Really couldn't get any crazier.
Cryogenic freezing.
Yeah. Holy shit.
No, it's
Walt Disney, don't come out of this.
It is fucking as bizarre a world as it gets, and you have to look at this and say, all right. So a lot of folks are saying, election November 4th or whatever it is, the 3rd or 4th.
Stop doing that. You keep trying to get people to show up late. You see dude? You are a fucking plant. You're a plant, bro.
All right, first Tuesday in November. So
Trump was just saying since they won't let him change the date, they did split it. So if you're a Democrat, you're to vote November 22nd.
I like that. Yes, I agree. Yes, I've heard that.
Show up November 22nd and cast your vote.
To your local
Only
polling
if you're
station.
only if you're a Democrat. But where is it? So if you fast forward, right?
Yes.
Honestly, because the wheels in motion are there. So let's go to November 10th, right? I'll give it a week past whatever election day is.
November 3rd.
It's not a light switch. It's not a light switch. These mayors and these governors, as much as we think they're in cahoots, they don't just turn around and go, all right, let's go back to business as usual.
They're going to try. They are absolutely going to try.
I don't know if they can.
They can't, but they're going to try.
The wheels are in motion. The wheels are in motion. So a governor or a mayor in a state or a city that has basically let these animals run free and destroy shit, all of a sudden on November 4th is going to say, oh, now we put a stop to it. The cops that should have been putting a stop to it 5 months earlier are going to say, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm going to...
It ain't even 5 months. They set these wheels in motion. Again, look at the BLM and all the billions they made in donations from, pieces of crap like Beyonce and fucking Puffy Comb crackhead and everybody else donating money and giving them everything they want.
Bad boys for life.
The reality... Well, the reality is these entities are so fucking huge now.
Yep.
They're not going to disappear.
Yep.
What I don't understand.
Over $2 billion they made. They haven't given out one $1,500 fucking scholarship to a kid or anything.
Because we know you can look at all that money. That money goes to bottles of water, frozen tennis balls, bricks, containers of gasoline,
lasers,
the airfare, the bus trips,
Provost tour buses to drive them around.
Of course.
Yeah.
Course.
That's where it goes.
But honestly, I don't see it changing.
That's why no matter what happens, the elections are only important. Because listen, you get a Republican in office, let's say in New York City, right? And you sway the city council predominantly Republican, so you pretty much make their foothold, let's just say, useless in New York City. Right? That's great. But you're going to end up with, let's say, Nassau County goes further Democrat, and you're going to shift all that shit from Manhattan right into Nassau County. And that's
what I was getting yelled at about when I had messaged one of my buddies, and I said just what I think Tommy had said earlier. I said, your boy's a rhino.
He has no buddies.
And he flipped out, and that was according to them, we, meaning everybody that was sitting at that table, left them, meaning the politicians that were all lined up to attend that event. We left them no choice. Whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean, by inviting two constitutionalist patriots that are coming to on their own dime to support law enforcement. By inviting those two people, we left them no choice. What the fuck does that even mean?
Yo, Josh, but I don't.
Again, that to me, it might just be me, but
it is.
It must be. I mean,
no, go ahead.
It's like, come on. Listen, we're there to support cops. You say what you want. You're inviting two people that are actually, again, they're actually fucking cops.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you turned your back. Listen, they turned their back faster on these two officers. I don't care that it's Ted fucking Nugent and Clay fucking Higgins. They're celebrities. They're fucking politicians, but they're fucking cops. If they were sitting on the edge of the bed with a 45 in their fucking mouth, would you turn your back on them? I wouldn't, and I didn't.
Well, maybe the people that made that decision would,
which is scary.
Well,
maybe they would.
Then maybe they need to. And again, here's the problem with policing today, and here's why we have no unions, and here's why we got no back, and here's why we fucking suck as a whole, the whole race of us. Because too many fucking panties and pussies got on this job, and no one stands up for anything. There is no such thing as intestinal fortitude anymore. Because intestinal fortitude, guys would be fucking stepping down. What Atlanta did to shut down their city, that was standing up. That took a pair of balls.
Yep.
Okay? But what the rest of us are doing, are you kidding? I'm seeing officers getting assaulted, hit over the head with canes and fucking swords, and they're not opening fire? Like Higgins said.
I've never seen anything like it before. I've never seen anything like it, honestly.
I mean, not for nothing. Put two in someone's chest and take it to court. The unions back down. You had a discussion about that earlier when you were on with Ted Nugent. The unions don't stand up. There's no political pressure.
Unite the
union
clans.
guys
Dude,
just-
I said it. Unite the clans. Get these guys
Exactly.
together, and not just NYPD. Unite the clans
Yeah,
on
no,
all
it's
of New York
across the
State.
board.
All New York State. And then eventually the others will come. Connecticut, New Jersey
yeah,
will
absolutely.
come. If they act together
They're
in
all in it
unison,
for themselves.
then we
I mean,
can
look at the
control
FOP.
this.
If you're a part-time cop, you don't even get fucking covered. Really?
No.
Because you're a part-time cop, you don't get covered by the FOP. What kind of bullshit is that?
It
You
depends
got a
on
shield.
their dues.
How about a strike, Tom? All cops go on strike and protest.
Well, in
can't.
New York City, you can't.
You can now.
Oh,
You can.
God.
Well, no,
But-
no.
Well,
See, that's
Dave,
where you're
listen.
wrong.
Well, you can, but
can.
you lose 2 days for every day that you're not there, and then
Right, you're
and
gonna
then,
lose 2
and then the
days-
city.
you're gonna lose
Hold
2
on.
days pay.
Yep.
Wait, it's 2 days pay for every day. Now, I'm retired, and I'm not a Patty Lynch, and I'm not a Sean. I'm not a fucking Ed Mullins, because if I was, I would do it. I'll take a fucking week stint in fucking Rikers. You fucking kidding me? I'll do it all day long.
I don't.
Oh, wait.
I don't.
No,
Dave,
no.
I don't hear that in your voice. Dave.
Wait, that's that's not the problem.
Where's the conviction?
Listen to me. Listen to me. Here's the problem. If they were to enact,
Most guys don't have balls.
if they were to
The
enact,
weekend detail guys are going to
if-
be like, no, I got to go write tickets. I got to get out there.
If they enact the Taylor law, besides the 2 days pay you lose for every day you don't go in, the city can then turn around to the unions and say, we are not going to take the union dues out of each of those members' paychecks, which means the unions have to go after the members to get the money, and that will never happen. And the unions will go bankrupt. They will never be able to get these guys to send their money in, set something up where they're collecting the dues themselves. That's the big
But again,
caveat. That's the big
all-
caveat here.
It all goes down to the fact that guys aren't standing together.
Well, that's
Guys aren't doing anything, and it all goes down to, again, and I get it, but you have your guy who rides around in a fucking scooter doing parkers, gets off every holiday, works his own hours, and never works a weekend. Gets 8 picks, even though he's got 3 days on the job. He gets 8 picks for everything he wants. He's the first on the list. Gets off every fucking holiday, and no matter what you do, that guy is doing
Yes.
anything they ask him
Yes.
to do, and that's what breaks the unions back. That's
Yes.
why guys get disillusioned, and then guys say the unions don't have my back. I remember in the squad having an issue in the squad with a boss, and hearing from a delegate, I know what you're saying, but we can't. We don't want to make waves. But that's your actual job. You're a delegate. Make the
giving
wave.
me cramps.
Well, I'll tell you honestly, if the unions are really worried about that, we are direct deposit obviously is king right now. Tell every member that we are going to. It's going to be a 3-year process that we're going because that honestly, I think that's the biggest hurdle here with the unions is that they know they will not get the union dues. And they can't kick you out of the union for not paying your dues. All they can do is spend the money to chase you. Here we go. We're going to set this thing up. Everyone has a bank account, checking account or a savings account, whatever the fuck it is. Set that automatic deduction up to whatever the number is, and it comes out. I would love that as a retired member. I'd love it. The DEA does not allow me to go onto their website and pay my yearly dues electronically. I don't have paper checks anymore. I haven't had paper checks in 5 years. So what I have to do is every year I have to go down there to Thomas Street, 26 Thomas, and I have to pay my dues with a check or a money order or cash to pick up my book and get my cards because they don't allow me to do it electronically.
Why?
What fucking year are we in? Make everything electronically.
God,
Let them be responsible to collect the dues, and that's the biggest hurdle and why they will never be able to do a controlled, action.
The biggest
job
the
action.
biggest hurdle is eliminating millennials. Listen, I've said this.
I'm a millennial too, Josh.
Yeah, exactly.
So eliminate me, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
pretty
You're
much.
the first one to go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my! How
Now,
mean,
Dave,
bro.
honestly, my generation of law enforcement killed it, and at least every other week, if not every week, I own it. I mean, my generation killed.
What is that, like 2012?
Yeah, killed the fraternity. You had when you guys and generations before you got on, guys were getting hired right out of high school. The pay was $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 a year. Benefits was shitty.
$330 a week.
Benefits.
what I got.
What?
Benefits were shitty.
true?
These Wall Street jobs and these private sector jobs were all the rage, and they were looking at cops like, "Oh, you guys are working around the clock. You're working holidays. You're missing all this. And, well, you guys are suckers, right?" And then all of a sudden, our pay and benefits took off, and all these private sector jobs started getting real fragile. So these guys coming out of high school, coming out of college, started looking at law enforcement like, hey, wait a minute. I'm clean. I got no criminal record. I'm in relatively good shape. I'm going to try this over here, because why would I go and risk my livelihood on a job that I could lose next month when I can have this secure job for 20, 25 years, get a guaranteed pension, get guaranteed benefits. So what happened was, when you had, rather than having guys that actually joined for the fraternity, because there was nothing else, when your generation and generations before you guys were getting on, there was no other reason to get on law enforcement other than the fact that you bought in to what the core mission of that profession was, and the fraternity. There was nothing else you were coming on for. But now, guys came on because of the pay, the benefits, and all that, but they have no interest in law enforcement. And now those guys are making boss, and those guys are making policy, and these are guys that are all self-preservationists. They don't give a fuck about the fraternity. They don't give a fuck about any of that. It's how does every decision they make is preceded with, how does this affect my forward movement, my advancement, my promotion, my detail. They don't give a
line affected by this only.
We killed the job. My generation killed it. Obviously, it's not all of us, but
video killed the radio. Video killed the radio.
You suck, and you have a big part to do with it, but it wasn't all you.
Go fuck yourself.
Josh does not have a big part at all. Trust
I
me.
do. I don't have a big part of anything. Did you know I scored 890 on my SATs?
Honestly, listen.
Have you ever watched Bohemian Rhapsody?
So Dave, I get on 94. When did you get on?
97.
So 97. So I honestly, and I'm not throwing mud up against the wall. I'm not saying shit.
Yes, you are.
Round, I guess 90. I think we were the last class. Was February '94 that required that didn't require college education, and we saw in the next couple of classes
that's about right.
there was a change in and not that education's bad, but
right.
Thank God. Thank God for me.
so I think you could probably attest to when you got in '97, there were guys you pick up guys that were there for 10 years. So, and I did the same thing when I got there. I looked up to guys that had more time than me, obviously, which was everyone, and you said, I wanted to be like that. So there's, I think, a very direct connect between that. And again, I'm not saying that education's bad, but things changed, I think, on this job when they made that a requirement. Because then I think you cut out a lot of applicants.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. And a lot of what I got into with and again, here's the asshole move with the self-plug. But a lot of what I got into with advocacy was helping guys.
See, now, if you had gotten me a script, I would have gotten you a professional read-over. Advocacy for law enforcement.
So, I know. I have commercials, but I don't have this script they make. But listen, a lot of what I got into with doing advocacy was seeing guys, like you said, they come off the job, 20, 25, 30 years as a cop, and or a detective or even a sergeant, and they're ending up at a fucking kiosk in a mall. And you talk to some of these guys, and you're like, what did you do? And it was, I was in ESU, or I was a homicide detective, or I was a whatever. And you're like, how the fuck are you sitting here at the kiosk in a mall?
And the square badge selling $17 an hour. Yeah.
Maybe I like filing people's nails.
I'm not saying that the guy should maybe be the head of Google security, but he should at least be a security manager in an office somewhere, earning a decent, low-level corporate salary, and doing something, that's deserving him. And a big problem was, too, is a lot of us on the job get off the job, and our resumes suck. Because although we may do a lot of stuff, when corporate America looks at your resume, you didn't do shit.
Their resume sucks because they can't articulate.
Right.
I can write you a resume that make you think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, but articulation is key in this job. You shoot somebody, you put your stick to somebody, you have to articulate.
Yeah, and that's why I got in touch with several headhunters, that have been doing it 30, 40 years each, know exactly what corporate is looking for and exactly how to transition by working with myself and other cops and speaking to us, translate that resume into something that's legitimate so that it shines, it shows. We scrub the social media to get rid of the stupid cop stuff that we post that shouldn't be there. mine's full of it because I have no filter and give no fucks. To be honest with
I
you.
haven't picked up on
there is
that.
stuff out
I
there we have
haven't.
to
I haven't picked up on that at all.
Yeah, well, and I'm actually controlling myself because my son's playing Call of Duty.
Well, Josh is a
in
little
the room
dull.
next to me.
That's my
Josh
game.
a little dull with it.
I like Call of Duty. That's
Oh,
my
Jesus.
game, man.
There you go.
He's
So
awake.
you should play with my son someday.
No, do not let him play with your son. Trust me. Trust me. Do
please.
not let him play with your son.
Please take that. Yeah, no.
No,
I could give you a word of advice.
Rescind that
Yeah,
invitation.
just take that back. You do not want Christian playing with your son. Trust
No,
me.
I don't have
It's
internet
over
right
the
now,
internet,
so
it's okay.
I got all my shots.
I don't have internet.
I can play with him. I got all my shots.
Or candy in my pocket. And please do not let him.
No,
I wouldn't. I don't. Yeah, no. It's. Let me tell you something. My son might actually be more dangerous than I am. I definitely did something really right or really wrong, depending who you ask. But long story short, I try to get these guys out there and get them resumes that really resonate for what they need, and that's what I see as the problem with people coming on this job with college. It's not that it's bad, but when I remember 9/11 happening, and having some time on the job at that time, and seeing kids that literally had a year or two out with a fucking master's degree, and they don't know what to do, and you're like, well, commandeer that garbage truck and shut down the Triborough Bridge. I can't do that.
Yes, you can.
Get in the fucking
we're
truck
under
and do it.
attack. You can do anything the fuck you want, and we'll figure it out later.
Yep.
We didn't learn about that. Again, it's that whole mentality where they have to be led to what they do, and the problem is these are the people that are, the days, if you remember, like when my uncle was on, God rest his soul, again, a long time ago, transit cop, they promotions had interviews. You didn't get a promotion based on just how you did. They sat down and talked to you. If you were a good test taker and a complete fucking moron, you got passed over. Now these kids, because they don't have to face that, it hurts the people we should have in position, and it hurts everyone else that stays behind because now the idiot, not scholastically, but the idiot who can't handle the job is the one who's getting the fucking promotion. It's hurting the job.
It's crushing.
That's where I think you hitting the nail on the head. That requirement of college is what hurts the job.
What's the what's the website for you, Dave? Advocacy for Law Enforcement.
Advocacy for LEO.com. Advocacy for FORLEO.com.
I knew it wasn't the number, Dave.
Yeah.
See,
why
Is Jacob taking this, or is he smoking weed in the bathroom?
Are you? Why are you picking on me? Because my 890 score, is that what it is? All right, so seriously, put a resume together for me. I have absolutely no skills. I test poorly, and I suck pretty much at everything. Thank you.
When he sucks, he's really good at it, though.
You have really, again, one thing we all have, I tell people all the time, you don't understand if you don't see what we do on a daily basis. I mean, we talk angry people into handcuffs and giving up, talk them into peacefully giving up their God-given right to freedom because they did something wrong, without taking a swing.
But we didn't talk them out of it. We didn't talk them out of it. They lost that the minute they committed the crime.
Talking them into handcuffs. He's saying.
Yeah.
No. What I'm talking about. I'm just saying is. You know where I got that. They're standing there. Again, ready to duke it out, whatever it may be. You ain't taking their freedom. You talk to them, and plenty of times I've done it. As angry as they are. 2-3 minutes of talking to them, yelling at them, verbal judo, whatever you want to call it. You know what? You're right.
Verbal judo.
I'm sorry. I'm stupid. Here's your whatever. That's not the definition of what awesome customer service is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, in all reality, dude, you should be running a fucking hotel desk.
But it gets better because when you get him back to the command and you give him like noops. You give him noops and a can of Coke and a Kit Kat, and they're your best friend in the world. Yep. And now you're not gonna hand that bag of shit to another cop that's got to sit on him in a hospital because they claim they got a fucking headache.
Yep.
Hey, have a Newport. Here's a can of Coke and a Kit Kat. You're good.
Yep.
Right, and now you have an angry customer at a hotel where you're working the front desk as a manager because of your excellent customer service, and you just turned around that fucking horrible experience. That would have got you a 1-star rating on Yelp or whatever it is, You just made the guy, A, feel bad for thinking that and actually feel so horrible about himself that he not only paid to upgrade his room, but gave you a 5-star review.
There it is.
Because that's what we fucking do day in and day out. Because we read people, we know people. But on the corporate level, we're a bunch of gorillas smashing square pegs into round holes.
Oh, that's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do.
Well,
that's not what all of us do. Unfortunately, that's not what all of us do. That's the you're writing the script for how to get through that, and they're either not getting supported by their supervisors or they just don't. They can't articulate. They don't know enough to say, hey, I'm not going to.
I think the not knowing enough comes from the older guys that we followed getting on, saying, "I'm done. I'm out of here."
Yep.
So Dave, let me ask you a personal question. Do you have a kidney by any chance?
Because Johnny Blue's wife needs a kidney. Is it about this big?
Actually,
he needs one about this big.
I'm not sure you want mine.
That's actually a good one. I didn't ask you for a liver. I asked you for a kidney.
No, yeah, they're kind of related. You don't want mine either.
Yeah,
Jesus.
no, I mean, I'm just saying, the kidneys clean your blood, and I'm a type 2 diabetic, so mine's taxed. I'm just saying, realistically,
you're defective.
You probably
Never
don't
mind.
want mine.
You're defective.
He's busted up.
But there's actually a really huge. I'm going to be honest with you. There's a look on. I worked with him dearly. I know the organization. There's a organization on Facebook run by a cop up in Westchester County called Kidney for Lawless, and they found like hundreds of kidneys for people through their network.
Shit. There used to be Kidneys Are Us,
Kid.
but they got sued.
They used to be they used to be Kidneys Are Us, but then there was that one prostitute that went missing.
Oh, Jesus!
They changed names.
Well, Dave, it was always nice.
They set up a great network across the country with testing and whatnot and stuff like that.
Go with the site again. What is it?
Kidney
for Lawless.
Kidney for Lawless.
Lawless was the name of the first officer that they found a kidney for.
Okay.
And it's a fantastic organization to try to get your help out there and do what you got to do with that.
Awesome.
Well, mine is I'll be honest with you, I would do it. I have no problem, but you really don't want mine.
No.
There you go. It's also Cops for Kidneys. A kidney for Lawless. CopsForKidneys.com.
CopsForKidneys.com.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Johnny Blue.
Thank you very much.
I'm looking at it right now.
Write it down.
And I'm gonna tag Josh in one of the posts so you have it because he's got nothing better to do.
You son Listen, we're all gonna. What's that?
Yeah, so I'm tagging Joshua in it, so he's got the information. I just tagged it. He can look it. You can read it out. It's a great organization to help you out with whatever you need there. I know they've found quite a few kidneys, and I wish you the best of luck with it. And if somebody gets me the information, I'll put it out as well through everything I touch, because we need that shit.
Please don't talk about the things you touch.
He's a kidney toucher.
He's a kidney toucher. Advocacy for LEOs.com.
LEO.com.
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 Leave off the last S for saving.
There it is.
Leave off the other S for kidneys.
You son of bitches. All right, Dave. Listen, love you. It was a great weekend. It was a great week, and
we got to do it again.
Yeah, we'll.
And listen, keep in mind, like I said, we got it. We should really focus on fucking Miami. Everything's half set there, and
please don't say Miami in front of Christian.
You guys want to do
I love Miami, honestly.
Please don't say Miami in front of Christian.
Do they have good pizza in Miami?
This kid went to Florida, to Miami specifically. I'm sorry, I apologize. This kid went to Florida, Miami specifically, for how long? A week?
Yeah.
His highlight was seeing, what kind of car was it?
Lamborghinis and
seeing
Rolls-Royce.
a Lamborghini and Rolls Royce. That was what he came back with as the highlight of his week in Miami. So you know what we're dealing with. Just so you know.
He would have been better off renting one for a day. He would have had a much
I'm down
better
for that. I want to do
highlight.
that, actually.
He actually went down on it.
I want to rent a renting a woman, Christian.
Yeah. I want to rent a Lamborghini before I buy one.
She had nice balls.
Oh, there it is. All right, Dave.
It's all good.
I'm going to reach out to you in a little bit.
I'll speak to you later, guys. Be good. Thanks
Thanks,
for having
Dave.
me on.
Take care,
And,
Dave.
Thank you very much.
Take care of my boys.
Stay safe,
All
brother.
right. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys. Be safe.
That's a fun call. right?
Let's wrap this. Plugs.
Yeah, how do you rap tonight?
Yeah,
patriotism
it's
and
2
fuck
o'clock
it
in the
all.
morning. We've been on the air for 7 hours.
Patriotism and fuck it all. That's how you rap this.
Yep, I agree.
I mean,
I
honestly,
agree, bro.
there's nothing. There's nothing else
America.
between everybody that called in. Patriotism and fuck it all.
Thank you to all the callers. Thank you
yeah.
for everybody for calling in.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Ted Nugent, Congressman Higgins.
The Nuge.
I mean, it's and honestly, I said it to both of them, and I'll re-say it again.
I gotta pee.
Both of them deserved a lot better than they got this weekend.
I agree.
You know, if you were on the side of the fence that failed those two, you really should be hanging your head. I mean, those guys were coming to deliver a message on their own time, on their own dime. You had a sitting congressman flying up here to support law enforcement. Guys that if you're wearing a shield, you know how scarce people are right now that'll vocally support law enforcement. Billion-dollar companies are running away from us. Everybody's running away from us. You had a sitting congressman.
Oh, we didn't give the FU to Dollar Shave Club.
Hit it.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
sorry.
I've heard about Dollar Shave
Stand
Club.
by. No,
Oh,
we're
God, unbelievable.
Chris is
man.
awake. God bless Chris.
Unbelievable, man.
Dollar Shave Club.
Why are you doing this, man? Why? Just why?
FU to Dollar Shave Club, who is pledging a shitload of money
Rachel,
to
get in here.
Black Lives Matter, and basically telling us we're all assholes. So FU, Dollar Shave Club, if you have a membership, unless you live on Mars or under a rock, you know what's going on.
Chris
so
does live on Mars.
Dollar Shave Club.
Actually.
Another FU, stand by, to the St. James Cleaners in Smithtown, Long Island.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a dry cleaner, and their manager posted this publicly, that she threw a cop out of the store, calling him an angry, useless pig.
Jesus.
Okay? Let's see how that works out for you, St. James Cleaners in Smithtown, Long Island. For all you guys living out in Liddville, Smithtown, Long Island, St. James Cleaners.
Say it again.
F-U.
One more time for the cheap seats.
St. James Cleaners in Smithtown, Long Island.
Attaboy.
F-U.
Jimmy Dunphy, you paying attention?
They were like, the owner's in the hospital, and this is his manager. Listen, the manager speaks for the owner. Fuck you.
St. James Cleaners.
I don't understand why companies.
You don't understand lots of shit.
Why companies do that? Instead of selling their product,
Because
why
it's the popular
back?
thing
why?
right now. Because it's the popular
They
thing
want
right
to be
now.
Fuck that.
They want to be with the
Why
cool
do
kids.
bees buzz?
This is your
I don't know. I don't know.
You know what, Tom? I was.
Why does pizza have cheese?
Tom, I was planning to sign up for Dollar Shave Club because they were
Negative. You're
No,
done.
good razors, good
You're done.
product, but not
You're done.
anymore though. Not anymore. I'm like, why? Like,
What's your
Here's a
plug?
Campbell soup can lid.
What's your plug, Christian?
Go with it, Chris.
BlueStressTest.com. If you're stressed out and you want to figure out how to mitigate your stress, just go to BlueStressTest.com.
I agree with that, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that same thing too one day. I don't know.
Joshua failed.
Just
like the SAT.
I actually did fail.
Joshua's stress test and SAT.
I actually
He failed
did.
both of them.
I actually did fail. Doc looked at me. He's like, "Well, your heart rate went up a lot faster than we would have wanted it to." I'm like, "Oh, is that a good thing or a bad thing?" Johnny, I already know, but go with it, Johnny.
www.proudpig.blue.
Are you patrolling with the pig?
What if you're not?
Then you're doing it wrong.
That a boy.
Just checking.
Excellent.
I'm just checking.
Excellent. I'm gonna plug Dave, just because of the weekend we had and
Not
everything.
physically, right?
I mean,
I'm
maybe.
I'm asking for a friend. I'm
Now
asking for a friend.
that you put it out there.
I think Stacy would want to know if you're going to really physically plug Dave.
But Dave seems like the power top.
he really does. I
All
may
right,
have to think
all right,
about
so
it.
who's getting plugged
So
here?
I'll be plugging Dave, but will Dave be plugging me? I'm not.
Tune in
100%.
next week.
Advocacy for LEO.com. If you are nearing retirement, get your shit together. Hit Dave up. Advocacy for LEO.com. Tommy.
lineofdutycigars.com, www.lineofdutycigars.com. You choose you buy the product, you choose the charity, we send the money. You have a friend of yours, a family member serving overseas, give us their address. We'll send them cigars on us to thank them for their service. So www.lineofdutycigars.com. Having a cigar outing, a golf outing, a cigar night, steak night, let me know. We'll take care of it.
There it is.
On that, we don't know when the next show is going to be.
We
so
never know.
We will. We'll post
We're
that.
unpredictable.
I like that.
So unpredictable.
It doesn't expose us to sniper fire. I like
Exactly.
Yeah.
Joshua, Christian,
All right.
Johnny Blue. Jacob.
Signing out.
We're out.
If you are searching for a doctor that truly cares about your overall health and well-being, contact Dr. Alex at Tri-State Health and Wellness. For more than 11 years, Dr. Alex has been treating law enforcement professionals and their families while focusing on one-on-one care so you never feel rushed. All necessary testing can be conducted during your visit, and they feature flexible hours and appointments to accommodate alternating work schedules. Tri-State Health and Wellness is conveniently located in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Contact Dr. Alex today by visiting www.bluetristate.com. Mortgages for everyday heroes. From Michelle Hendershot and Homebridge Financial Services. If you're looking to purchase a home or refinance an existing mortgage, Michelle Hendershot can assist you every step of the way. With over 10 years of experience assisting law enforcement officers with their dream of owning a home, the choice is simple. Contact Michelle Hendershot today. Visit www.mortgagesforblue.com. Are you tired of sleeping alone each night? Feeling sluggish during the day? Is your snoring keeping your spouse awake at night? If you find yourself spending too much time on the couch, maybe it's time to visit Dr. Michael Doblin of At Home Sleep Solutions. Dr. Doblin is the preferred sleep apnea doctor of New Jersey's law enforcement officers. With the help of a custom-fitted oral device, you can finally say goodbye to noisy, antiquated sleep apnea machines. For more information and to schedule an appointment today, contact Dr. Michael Doblin. Visit www.bluesnore.com. If chronic pain is preventing you from leading a full and active lifestyle, then it's time to visit Oasis Spine and Orthopedic Specialists. As a Blue-friendly service provider, Oasis understands that each person's situation is unique and that each person's healing plan needs to be customized for individual injuries and conditions. Featuring board-certified and fellowship-trained physicians, Oasis Spine and Orthopedic Specialists will have you back on your feet and back in the game. Schedule your appointment today by visiting www.blueorthopedic.com. Moment of Silence, Inc., along with Blue Suicide, is a nonprofit organization founded to support and raise awareness about the epidemic of suicides amongst law enforcement, military personnel, and first responders. For more information on how you can help, visit momentofsilenceinc.org. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or a certified used vehicle, then visit Fetty Auto Group, located at the junction of Route 46 and Route 3 in Clifton, New Jersey. Fetty Auto Group stands shoulder to shoulder with the men and women in blue. Stop by and ask for Troy Mall and ask about the offers for first responders. For more information, visit FettyAuto.com. That's FettyAuto.com. The Blue Magazine, the law enforcement publication by law enforcement professionals for the men and women of law enforcement. The unfiltered voice of law enforcement. TheBlueMagazine.com. Are you patrolling with the pig? If not, you're doing it wrong. Check out all the newest swine swag at ProudPig.blue. They are dirty by design. Check it out now. Visit www.proudpig.blue for all your swine swag. Visit www.proudpig.blue. Line of Duty Cigars, owned and operated by retired NYPD Detective Tom Werther. Visit lineofdutycigars.com for our handmade Nicaraguan cigars, custom ashtrays, custom humidors, and custom flask sets. Also, when you place an order, you choose a law enforcement, first responder, or veteran charity, and Line of Duty Cigars donates 10% to that organization. Planning a special event? Contact us today. Visit www.lineofdutycigars.com.